I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick the Neon Crew podcast's ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Oh boy.
I feel like if people are at least surface level aware of They Live, they have to know about that line, right? I feel like it's pretty standout. It's like
If you'd only seen the movie one time, that's what you pull away from.
yeah.
Like I've known that line since I was probably 7 or 8.
And it's referenced quite a bit
Yeah.
in other things, like video games and just
Walking
like other
the streets.
pop culture. Yeah, just being alive.
Yeah.
It's referenced in my daily vernacular.
I was about to say you don't even need to bring in pop culture or media or anything. I mean, that's just something. That's what I'm saying. Like my dad. Well, he used to say, I'm here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum. And they start laughing.
I love getting kind of subversive with it. You know me and my tendencies. I'll walk into the room and say, I'm here to chew ass and kick bubblegum.
Yes.
You pull that 1-2 punch.
And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Yeah, I'm all out of ass.
Yeah.
And if you've seen me and you know what my ass looks like, you'll know that is very true. I have no butt whatsoever. It's non-existent. It's flat.
Great intro.
Thank you. This is going to be a fun ep. I can already tell.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 108 of the Neon Crew podcast. My name is Kyle.
Mac.
We got some special things to discuss. We have some interesting ideas to reach deep into and hopefully save each other's hearts.
Yeah. Yep.
Because we have to fight for what is right. Because when we see stuff that is wrong and we know it's wrong, we have to step in and fight for what's right.
Yeah, is this a Billy Jack promo or
more like a Joseph Cross sort of thing?
Okay. Oh yeah, yes. Yeah. Was that it? Okay.
I resonated with his message quite a bit. Can't you tell?
Yeah.
I identify with, well, that's a problematic sentence to begin that movie with, right?
Yeah.
If you say you identify with anyone in Eddington, it's like, I don't know.
Yeah, if you could be like, I'd be that guy's friend.
Who would you want to be friends with the most in Eddington? Out of every single person in the movie.
Like
if you had to pick one.
Yeah, if someone...
Because they're all kind of horrible in a way.
Or idiotic.
Probably Michael. The black cop.
Yeah, so actually we'll get into it.
Yes.
If I had to pick friends, it'd be Michael or Butterfly.
Yeah, one of those two.
Because they're the most grounded.
Right. Butterfly is like a little too serious for my liking. I feel like I could maybe hang with Michael for like, I don't know, at least a half hour.
Oh, yeah. He's got the introvertedness that you probably are seeking.
Yeah. He seems like the kind of keep to yourself dude that I could chill with.
Yeah. Once again, another kind of playing against the characters in the film.
Yeah.
Right?
I could show him like a couple episodes of Smiling Friends and I think he'd be down.
Yeah. You'd be like, man, very cool.
Yeah.
And then you'd be like, all right.
He wouldn't laugh too much at it, but he'd be like, you know what? I had a nice evening.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to go practice with my AR-15.
Yep. In the middle of the fucking New Mexican desert.
Yeah.
All right. So the first movie that we're going to be discussing, Eddington, we decided to pair this with They Live. Figured that the idea of sort of conspiratorial subject matters matched the kind of discussions that we will be having. So Piper's going to help me out introing this movie. So this movie came out this year. We're a little late to the ball on this one. Was in theaters around the summertime, May, June, July, and then hit streaming. It's on HBO Max. So if that's something you have, check it out. Watch that movie before this discussion. I'm telling you right now. It's one of those films where I feel like you probably won't be able to exactly predict what's going to happen.
No.
You'd be hard pressed to like try and guess. But anyway, this came out earlier this year. It's directed and written by Ari Aster. We've discussed Beau is Afraid on this podcast.
Yeah.
And this is his follow-up to that. Stars... No, Piper.
Whoa.
No, girly. Down.
Third podcast host trying to get in the mix.
Piper's trying to get on mic, but what she doesn't realize is that she can't speak English. So
or speak in general.
Or in general. Oh, listen, she can speak.
Yeah.
I've heard her speak before.
Yeah.
Sometimes I reply. But anyway, it stars Joaquin Phoenix as Joe Cross, who is the sheriff of this small town in New Mexico called Eddington, and takes place during the early days of the 2020 COVID-19 pandemic. And Joe Cross is our central figure. We kind of learn a little bit about him, how he is, he's pretty much over all of this pandemic stuff like right away. He doesn't want to wear the mask. He doesn't want to, have to shop with a mask on. He's got asthma. He kind of uses that as an excuse to not want to wear one. And so he gets the idea to run against the mayor, who is played by Pedro Pascal, Mayor Ted Garcia, who's a more kind of progressive figure who runs the town in a way. But you get to learn more about the characters in this town. Emma Stone, who plays Joe Cross's wife, who's got some past trauma that has followed her and haunts her like a specter. Austin Butler, who plays Vern in Jefferson Peak, this kind of cult figure. Luke Grimes and Michael Ward play Guy Tooley and Michael Cook, who are the kind of deputies under Joe, who are trying their best to follow in his footsteps in a way. And then Deirdre O'Connell, who plays Dawn, who is Luis's mother. And you get to learn about the dynamics of the town and the kind of paranoia that it descends into because of the events of the time, and the sort of reflection that it holds up a mirror to when it comes to social issues, Black Lives Matter, Antifa, COVID-19 itself, all that jazz. So spoiler alerts for Eddington. So this is going to be, I think, a very interesting discussion at the very least, because I feel like there's a lot of different facets you could talk about this movie with. So when we discussed Beau is Afraid, a lot of that was around anxiety and the idea of Beau's anxiety manifesting itself in some of the worst ways possible. Like every single scenario that Beau found himself in, whether you could think of like the worst thing imaginable, it would happen, right? And we discussed that movie being sort of Ari Aster's kind of personal anxiety manifesting itself through that film.
And a little bit of the childhood trauma that he probably had with his mom.
There's something going on.
Yeah.
Guy uses filmmaking as a form of therapy. That's very clear. This feels a lot like a similar sort of thing, except instead of his personal anxiety being touched on in this movie, it is his political anxiety and how that manifests through the characters, the environment, the events that take place. And it, you get a lot of like personal anecdotes from the characters and like, their past histories and their kind of mindset going into it, but it's all for like the purposes of feeding this paranoia that's festering in the town, and only continues to grow as the movie's runtime progresses. One of the things that I think is the most interesting thing about this movie to me is the fact that the entire thing is perpetuated by technology, by phones, by what people are viewing online discourse, the media. And it's a very clear focus that Ari Aster is drawing towards, I think, in this movie. And that, like, most every action that takes place is either fueled by a text message, an Instagram post, a Facebook video, a phone call even. And it's all under the sort of, like, this idea that these issues that these people are experiencing through the internet are so important enough to, like, want to either fight against or fight for these issues that either you have characters like Joe Cross who are, we don't really get to learn the specifics of his political beliefs, but we know that he's not a fan of the restrictions of COVID-19 and, the sort of mandate that the state is enforcing on the citizens and law enforcement of, like, you have to wear a mask when you go in the store and you have to, stay 6 feet apart, blah, blah, blah. On the other side of that, you have the protesters and those characters who, it feels like maybe some of them are coming from a genuine place, but Ari Aster is obviously interested in the sort of performative nature of a lot of people's views on those subject matters, and the degree in which they are actually authentically wanting to fight for these issues or against these issues is obviously something he's very interested in. And I guess a lot of people's sort of viewpoints on this movie, it can all just depend on whether or not that stuff works for you. And I think for me personally, it works very well. This being my second time watching this movie, it's very clear to me that Ari Aster has a specific intent when it comes to showing these characters toiling amongst themselves while the kind of big tech companies are the ones that come out on top, more or less, towards the end of this movie.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's my takeaway from it. I'm curious to hear your viewpoint on that, whether or not it was effective for you.
No, this is so I think I really resonate with this film. So given the nature of politics and kind of the transition that we've seen from some of the strategy going on, I know that I've talked to a couple people about the nature in which it's kind of separated from, it used to be very business-like, to now it's very much we want to see that the personal side and what you're really thinking from our leaders.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's almost like the morality plays have become more and more of an extreme focus in politics. And I mean, they always have been there. It's just like now it's so amplified.
Well, yeah, I mean, and we've fed into okay. So it'll all just kind of just keep going, right?
Yeah.
This thing is, to me, somewhat of a satirical nature on how politics are operating today. You get to see both sides. And one of the things that I've always kind of complained about, especially when we used to, when you dive back 15 years ago about how, campaigning worked and how we treated some of these debates and, the leadership and what we were looking for from our leaders, and kind of where it spun out to now, where you got a lot of people like attacking each other online. Insults are almost a form of applause because we really like, people like seeing someone speaking their mind, essentially.
Yeah.
And this thing is, and it's from both sides. So, you talk about conservatives and liberals. Neither one of the main characters in this thing that are pitted against each other are defined as such. But you understand that the side that they are representing, depending on the beliefs that they're kind of exuding, are, the principles that they're adhering to as they go through this town on how it should be ran. And I friggin' loved that he took both sides and made them look like idiots. Like, I don't think in any light whatsoever you could look at either side and say that they're doing what should be done by the people. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's all very much self-absorbed, self-interested. Look at me and what I'm going to do. And both sides, they get reduced to the point of just stupidity. Yeah. And I loved it. I mean, you were watching, and it's what you kind of see today, and you have the COVID-19 stuff going on and the mask mandates, and Joe Cross kind of getting out, and he's making his point about free speech or what freedom in general, and I don't have to follow this. This is kind of the government mandate, but this wasn't approved by the town council. Why do I have to follow this stuff? Mm-hmm. No one really dies. You have the other side. Especially when the Black Lives Matter stuff comes out, right? And everyone's making the activists right and going through, but like they take it to the 10th degree, I mean, to a point where a kid's telling his father, because he's white, he is completely in the wrong and he will never get it. And that they've reset, civil injustice by, I thought, like 1,000,000 years or whatever it is. Yeah. And the dad's like, can't comprehend it, and it's just to the point where everything's it's a platitude, right?
It's a platitude that's driven by selfish self-interest.
Yeah, everyone has to have a platitude, and the screens play into it. So, like, while I'm doing this, I have to make sure I'm being recorded in order to have the opportunity to get my 15 minutes of fame or to excel, to promote myself in order, and I just love, there's a lot of different themes in this thing that like are just swirling around. And the best way that you could reduce it to is the paranoia, right? And a little bit of we're not really sure what's happening, so we are making our voice heard, but it's all off of that platitude effect, and everyone in this film has a platitude.
It's a very kind of focused, distilled sense of paranoia and fear that is driving a lot of the actions in this movie, because it's coming from a place of either misunderstanding or lack of actually communicating with people. The idea that social media acts as more of a distant than it does bringing people closer together. The ironic nature of that, of like Facebook's whole existence. Oh, we're going to bring people closer and like, make these connections. Whereas like, obviously Ari Aster is very interested in touching on that as like, this is like basically evil incarnate. This idea that social media is like running our lives and it's driving us all insane.
Yep.
And how it only exacerbates the selfish qualities and interests of each of the characters. I mean, I think one of the perfect examples of that is the character of Brian, the kid who is like friends with the son of the mayor, who, he gets jealous that his friend like basically came in, swooped to the girl that he was interested in. Kind of not like, orchestrates the events of the movie, but like he does a few things to like try to gain his own interests when he's like putting on the protest, and he like sends the message to Michael.
Yeah.
And there's no sense. The first time I watched the movie, I was like, is he like, trying to be genuine, or is this like totally driven by selfishness? And then the second time I watched it, I was like, okay, yeah, this is definitely, he's not genuine about any of these issues in any way, shape, or form.
No,
he solely just wants to get the girl.
And that's why I play so well into all the shit that's going on. And his arc is the best.
Yeah,
I mean, it goes. You see all of this stuff. He has a thing with his father. To the very end, he kills someone, and he is now Second Amendment.
He becomes like a very like conservative drifter.
Yeah, he's like
grifter. Yeah,
yeah, exactly. He's just playing off. He becomes an influencer. Next thing you know, he's talking to
he kind of becomes
senators.
He kind of becomes Kyle Rittenhouse.
Yeah, and it's to me that was like that's what I love about this thing. Everyone just moves around playing to the party that they have to play to, right?
And it never to me feels like Ari Aster is taking the weight away from the issues that are being portrayed.
No,
because he's touching on stuff like, the George Floyd murder and police brutality and, COVID-19 restrictions that, you could say whatever you want about it. It fucking happened, and it killed tons and tons of people, millions of people in America alone. It's not like he's taking these issues and making them feel like they're reduced to a joke or something that we shouldn't take seriously. Because this movie has like a tension and a weight to it that's like, okay, yeah, these are real issues that, people are discussing and going out and protesting. I just like the way in which Ari Aster, it seems like he just innately recognizes the cynicism and the selfishness of human beings, and just like cranks that up to 11.
I think he's taken both of this, and he's not. I don't think it's poking fun at the issue. I think what he's poking fun at is how people took on the issue and they're dealing with it.
100%.
And the best, like watching it a second time, like we were talking about, who would you hang out with? Like the only one, Michael. And I thought, you know what? That he's the most even keeled guy in all of this. He like. And it's all through very short sentences, where like Guy Tooley's sitting there and he's talking about like, how's this affect you? You feeling okay? And he's like, man, it's fucked up. But like, I'm a police officer. There's bad police officers and there's good police. Like, he's able to rationalize all these situations and like speak really how a human should be approaching these things. Like, this is terrible. I don't know George Floyd, but I know police brutality is a thing.
Yeah.
But then you have the protesters who are amplifying it. Oh my God, what the chick say? She said we're at like white white privilege, and we're trying to we want to get to white abolitionists, but we're essentially at white like reformity or something like that. You know, like
yeah.
And she's screaming this at him as there's all these protests going on, trying to recognize where she stands and her like. There's a tiered approach to this perception about where we're at and how we're helping out other cultures, right? And like you see that, and I'm like I recognize people like that. And I'm like, that's what's absurd to me. Like, can't we, you can look at something and just say, this is inherently bad. We have to do something about it. One of the things that was really like this shit, I laughed a lot more the second time I watched it, because the first time kind of don't, like you mentioned, you really don't know what's happening and like where this is going. You can pick up, there's some satire going on and that where he's poking fun at some people but like no idea. But the second time I see it, she starts, Joe Cross comes out and he approaches, and she's like, you guys are fucking assholes. You like police brutality, all your people in there. He goes, and Joe Cross is like, what the hell are you talking? He goes, look at my friggin' budget. Like,
yeah,
what
it's like three dudes rolling up.
Yeah. Like she's hammering him with all this crap that he's like doing. He's like, what the hell are you talking? So
yeah,
it's that the miscommunication or interpretation between both sides too, because I remember when the George Floyd thing happened, and there was that spark. Like, what do you do? And you had the national unrest going on because of COVID, so a lot more free time to think about things, right? And have a platitude. And I remember being like, it's really fucked up. I was like, you have to get some sort of safety training. And then I was like, look at how much these police departments get. You want to funnel in training, that's an extra $50,000. Is the state providing that? Like, there's like more of those questions should have been asked or discussed, right? And in this thing, it's just pointing fingers, and it's inherently like you're evil and then you're evil.
Well, the characters in this movie, rightfully, like I shouldn't say rightfully, are appropriately written in a way in which like they seem to be passionate about issues that they don't really want to delve further into. Right?
Or have an understanding of.
Or just like have a more meaningful understanding of.
Joe Cross, I don't want to wear my mask. Like, well, there's people dying. Well, 1.4% of the population, that's it. And he goes, what's 1.4 of this? He's like, that's even less than 0.2, like right. in the supermarket. And so that goes, it's just that I know people are dying, but it's not here. So there's not that greater empathy, the greater understanding of how this is impacting the people around you.
It's very much, you're exactly right. It's reflective of that idea of, well, this isn't happening to me, so why should I give a shit if I don't follow the rules or not, right? Yes. The second time watching this, it was, knowing what I was getting into, I think only helped the experience. It's interesting how there is just obviously this movie's divisive.
Oh yeah.
Beau is Afraid was divisive, but I think this is even more so because people will ask the question like, is it too early to make a movie about the pandemic? Because it only, happened very recently, still fresh in our minds.
Yeah.
Feels like 3 months of time has been compacted into 5 years, but it's one of those things where I can see people's perspective on it, how it feels like a raw kind of wound that Ari Aster is sticking his finger in and going like, oh, I'm kind of interested in touching on this. What do you guys think about this? And people are like, no, I kind of just want to like forget all that. At the same time, obviously I don't think filmmakers should be restricted in what they want to depict when it comes to their projects and like trying to make something interesting. And I feel like he is offering something here that is worth discussing, worth viewing, worth talking about. Because I think it is important when thinking about all of these kind of social issues and, how we go about discussing them and practicing them. I think it's important to do a lot of self-reflection and like ask the question of like, what is motivating me to do this right now?
Yes.
Am I coming at this from a place of, genuine desire and like, want to see something change and affect something? Or am I doing this because, the hot girl that I follow on Instagram is going to this protest? I'm going to go too.
I'm going to prove to my wife that I have a backbone and I can do something worthwhile and stand up for her. Yeah. Right. Like everyone in this thing is, No, and that to me, this is another reason why I really like this. This felt like, hey, we're going to take a microscope and just pinpoint it on just a singular community, and this is going to be an outside perspective. And I don't think maybe to this degree it happened, but definitely felt like this is like a timestamp of that time. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know right now if this is a great, like maybe it's a raw wound for some people, you know, but in 10 years, I really feel like if you want to go like, hey, what was going on in 2020? You could pull this up and I like, hey, it's a little coked out,
yeah,
but this is a genuine sense of what was going on with a lot of the civil unrest, you know, the turmoil, and just kind of what we did as a society to get to this point.
And I think some people think that Ari Aster is just being provocative for the sake of it.
No.
And I don't agree with that.
Yeah, I was about to say, yeah, I'm with you because
I think that there is, like I said before, there's more here to chew on the meat of. I think that he's got a very kind of clear focus and message on what he wants to do with this movie and like what the movie ultimately ended up being. Because I could see someone watching this for the first time thinking like, oh, you know, it's doing too much, it's unfocused, it's, you know, it doesn't have like a very kind of clear message. Second time watching this, the message was clear to me. And one of the messages that was very clear, even the first time I watched it, was, wow, tech companies and the ultra rich just really control everything, and we're all a bunch of stupid baby idiots who wander around in our meat sacks and have no control over what we think, do, say, anything.
Which is kind of how the second movie plays in. But
kind of, yeah.
Which
makes this a good pairing, I think.
I thought it was I'm not going to lie, I thought it was a great pairing watching They Live last night. I was like, holy shit, if you watch They Live and then fast forward into this thing.
Yeah.
Like, you're just taking certain things up, but we'll get there. The one of the biggest through lines, because the movie starts out with the data center and then ends with the data center, is kind of how AI is starting to impact our morality and our consciousness.
Yeah.
You know, and looking at what money's able to do, right, as it kind of propels forward.
And this push to kind of delve into the technological landscape before there's even a chance to really kind of like sit back and have a real discussion of like what does this mean for the environment? What does this mean for online presence? What does this mean for like criminal activity? You know, can I just like
the environment,
can I just like go commit a crime and then, you know, say that it's AI footage and just have it discredited right away? Like, these are things that I think Ari Aster does such a good job of not only encapsulating this specific time period, but even before AI was really becoming a focal point in the discourse of culture, just in general. I think he's really good at like striking those two balances of like, hey, not only is this like a look at what was happening then, it's like it's setting things up that we have to reckon with now.
Yeah.
And I think it's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. That like it's what I'm like with all the themes going on. Like it just swirls. You know, there's never. It remains focused. It remains consistent. We kind of hop along these lines. Like I kind of think of like guitar strings, right? As you're kind of just moving down towards this, whatever that thing in the middle is called, the strum or.
I'd have to ask Gideon.
Yeah. Gideon, comment whenever you see it. But you're just hopping along these themes, but everything remains as it's going towards the end target, you know, and it's culminating. And that was one that is like almost, I don't want to say that it's not encompassing, right? Or maybe it is. Maybe it's the whole overall theme, and that's how all these like little subplots play into the very kind of what we finally get to at the end of the film. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was a pretty prevalent one. I'm trying to think. Just everything that was occurring in the film. I mean, we touched on a little bit about the platitudes and the political unrest.
Well, I think one of the more like kind of to look at the other side of the spectrum of like the political versus the personal.
Yes,
you learn a lot about. I mean, Joe is the central figure, and I think that Ari Aster did a good job of having us recognize that, yeah, this guy's just kind of an idiot and just all around like not a great person, but it also made me sympathize with him a lot of the time in this movie.
I don't know if I'd say overall not a great I mean, yeah, after certain
he does kill
events.
2 people.
Right. But like I want to say like it's boiling up to a point, right?
Yes.
Like, you know, there are people that try to do good in here that
Technically he kills 3 people. Well,
we don't know how many of those the people at the very end got, which
I was going to say
another interesting topic.
I think, yeah. Well, we can talk about that.
Yeah, like they're up to a point. Yes, he has. So my thing with it is being like unbiased with it was he has his beliefs. He has what he believes he is doing right. He may not be the smartest or the brightest bulb in the bunch.
He's not like a dumbass or anything, but he's just kind of like there's like an incompetence there that surfaces through.
Yeah, I mean, he grew up in a small town. He took over, you know, the crazy thing that I didn't pick up either was he took over sheriff as soon as his wife's father died, right? Yeah. And, you know, it's kind of that small town. I have my ideas about the world around me. But like he tries to do good by his wife with the protests going on. Like, yeah, he has a little bit of some violence come out, like very, you know, like what happened across the nation, very, very minimal, right? Like he's trying to handle it as best as he can.
Yeah, it ultimately feels like, and I think the perfect description for this is he's just out of his depth, does not know how to handle these issues at all.
No, it's above his, it's out of his scope. Mm-hmm. You know, it's out of his scope, and he's...
Well, you know what was in his scope? Pedro Pascal.
Yeah. That's when the movie, I was like, oh, what are we doing?
I was completely floored by that the first time I watched it.
Really?
Yeah, because I wasn't quite sure what was happening at first.
No, I'm with you. Like, I not necessarily floored. To me, it was like... so original viewing experience, because that's what I want to kind of go off to if everyone's only seen this one time, because I don't know how many fucking Ari Aster stands are listening to this thing going like, I've seen it twice or 3 times.
Real sickos.
Yeah.
Like you and me.
Oh yeah. I've come to my terms with where I'm at with Mr. Aster. Mm-hmm. But watching this kind of going back and forth, because all the marketing and stuff, it's these two ethos or philosophies pitted against each other, right? Like these are just the metaphysical representation of our ideologies, and it's boiled up into these two people, almost to like whatever you want to call it, the 10th degree.
Yeah, it very much was marketed as like this sort of out there, but like still interesting kind of action movie with the setup of it being... It has some action towards the end of the trailer, but...
Yeah, because you really don't know what's going to take place, but you can kind of tell...
Well, like action plus like, oh, we're going to watch Joaquin Phoenix and Pedro Pascal face off. Like it's going to be a two-hander.
Yeah, like face off.
All right.
Yeah.
Future recommendation, maybe.
Ooh.
But it's funny that you say that, because the first time that I saw this movie, I saw it in theaters, and it was a surprise. It's not a packed house. It was not a packed house by any means.
Right.
But I went in there and it was like half full. Way more people than I expected, especially for like an Ari Aster like A24 movie.
Yes.
And there were all types of people there. There was like older people, younger people, like middle-aged people, like, you know, I think I saw some like families with like adult kids there, and obviously like no children. But it's funny because the entire time watching this, like, I think even right around when he like kills the homeless guy, this lady started coughing in the movie theater, and she did not stop the entire runtime, which kind of parallels my viewing experience with Beau is Afraid and how fucking weird that was. Yeah, kind of immersed me in the movie a little bit.
Yeah, it almost makes it surreal.
It does, because like, you know, there's the moment where he starts coughing and he's like, shit, and he like goes and gets a COVID test, and he's like coughing the entire rest of the movie.
Yeah, coughing and wheezing.
Yeah,
and I love that he gets the test results and he doesn't open it. Yeah, which tells you all that you need to know about, like, he has it. Yeah,
There's no doubt.
He knows what's going on, and he's like, because I didn't ever want to believe in the strain that this was a thing. Now it's here, and I've got it. I am not going to take any sort of accountability for my actions. Up to this point, and I'm just going to continue to go on, and I will whatever because I'm not going to wear my mask.
A lot of the conflict from this movie just come from that just innate sense of that super strong desire to just maintain the status quo. Just like keep things how they used to be, and like his struggle for that and like his endeavor to keep that going feels like a lot of where the conflict of this movie comes from.
To some extent, I would say it's
not the only source of conflict.
No, I know that, but you know what I'm thinking. I think it's just the accountability of people too. Or we've lost a little bit of our tack, you know. Because like you take Pedro Pascal's character, Mayor
Garcia,
and he, you know, the things that he did with Emma Stone, like there's no accountability on his end for that. Like that's another thing where he's like,
but that's also like that's a point of contention within the film itself.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like all of these characters that have something going on, it's all of this. Even when we're doing the protest stuff, like. There's no accountability for what we've done. We're just saying what's happening, right? Like that's one of these things with this platitude and people making a pitch for their beliefs or what they believe in to get on TV. It's
morality plays.
Yeah, and it's not necessarily like what am I doing in terms of my accountability and the ownership that I have. The social contract is one, as I think that chick brought up. You know, it's what plays. It's what plays. And what can I sweep under the rug or what don't I want to accept? So yes, the status quo kind of fits in to some of that nature, you know. And I think that's where, like, with COVID happening originally too, was kind of that. Like, there is this monumental change that we have to make as a society to change.
Yeah, and look at how many people bitched and moaned because of
yeah.
You know.
Well, and you saw you know, even during the time you saw the selfish nature of people.
Yeah,
and you know, and both of them possibly using it to gain money or profit from it. Like, I don't know, you know. So the funny thing is with Garcia. You know, Pedro Pascal's character is like, he has a mask on, but there are times because he takes it off and it's for a little bit of conflict. But it's also like, do you really believe in this thing and stopping you? Or is this something that you are just doing because you have an image to portray?
Right.
And
there is, you know, he also just like has a party going. Where like the sign that when Joe first walks into the party because of the noise complaint, the sign says 6 feet apart, and there's like everybody's standing like right next to each other.
And there's people with masks, without masks. Yep. It's all playing up to, hey, we won. We don't really give a shit. The COVID-19 played on keeping safety, right?
Right.
And oh my God, you know. So the first time watching it, his political speech and the. Oh my God. He's got to keep the bar open because he's got a campaign for the 6 patrons that are in there.
Right.
And then he goes in there completely is like, I'm playing the predator pitch on this thing. One, because he may have been influenced with what he heard from the guy that came through and what he saw with his wife. You know, the other is like that, hey, you know, this stuff is playing right now. I'll be able to take him down. I'll destroy his image. It was kind of cringeworthy. The second time watching the thing, that is so awful to watch.
Yeah, it's horrible. Because the entire time you're with Joe, so you're just imagining yourself in the situation of just like complete and utter like humiliation over and over again because of like him being recorded by phones when he's trying to get the homeless guy out of the bar, or like, you know, him being recorded by the protesters, and then finally like the cap off of being slapped twice in the face by Pedro Pascal, which, by the way, if I get slapped in the face by Pedro Pascal, I'm just dying like on the spot.
From like heat.
Yeah, just like because of how hot it is.
Yeah. No, I'm talking.
Hit me, daddy.
Yeah, exactly.
But like you think about the culmination of all that, and it's like I could see how this guy came to the conclusion, yes, I should snipe this guy in his own house and murder him and his son.
The boiling point definitely reaches the pinnacle. Right?
Don't condone it, obviously.
No.
Very bad, no good, don't do it.
Yes.
But
and we're not sympathizing or empathizing here either, but it's definitely an understanding.
It's great. Kind of like tension construction from Ari Aster.
And it plays like it gets to that point and it's totally believable. you know, which is props to him for what he was able to do.
And then I thought to myself, oh shit, is he going on like an assassination spree
That's
now?
what I thought too.
Yeah.
And then he does, and he just goes into the,
and then it's damage control, which makes it a little bit more interesting than where I thought it was going to head.
Well, you get to watch, and you're watching a bumbling idiot trying to figure out how to, you know, and he has an idea about how to cover this thing up, but at the same time, because it's who he is, he just doesn't do enough.
Yeah.
Right? And so now it's almost like, it's like Good Times, you know, where it's just like, every step that you take is one step in the wrong direction. And now you're trying to cover. It's walking in the sand trap at a golf course. And, you know, instead of pushing it behind you and covering it, you're sweeping it. So every step you take, you look behind you, go, shit. And then you turn around and sweep it. You take 2 more steps, you go, shit. And you sweep it again. You're continuing to make these problems.
Yeah. One thing that I wanted to bring up, because you mentioned, you know, the people who, the believability of like how people just like couldn't wrap their heads around COVID-19 policies and like mandates or whatever.
Yeah.
It is funny how when reports of this movie were first coming out, there were rumors that it was going to be a zombie movie.
Oh, really?
And the thing with zombie movies that a lot of people have this thought of when they watch it, whether it's Walking Dead or whatever, is, oh, these people are stupid. I would totally just survive the zombie apocalypse.
Yeah.
And you know, it's crazy that like these people are dumb enough to like let themselves get bitten by zombies. And then we get through the COVID-19 pandemic and you realize, oh, people are just this dumb. Like, people are just this stupid. And it makes all of the idea that these zombie properties are just inherently flawed because of this thinking totally out the window. It's like, yeah, now I believe that this could happen.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's yeah, it's the acceptance on what's going on, you know, and then figuring out, all right, so this is what I think ultimately too, it was a free choice over my body and what I wanted to do with it. So,
which is funny because they're normally the crowd that is against the sort of my body, my choice
Know,
mantra.
yeah. And it's, if I'm going to die from it, I'll accept it.
Not to get too spicy on this podcast.
Right. Well, I mean, like my whole thing with it is when it's that denial piece of it. Like if you're Joe Cross and you go, yes, COVID is a thing. I understand what's going on. I know that I'm being selfish with what I'm doing. It could infect other people. Right. Like that. Yeah. I mean, it plays into that a little bit. I mean, because it's just, yeah, it was. People are wild, man. I'll just say that.
People be wild.
And like when I say this thing's coked out, I mean like I'm not talking. Maybe it's not the 10th degree. Maybe this is like the 3rd degree on like kind of like what you see. Honestly, would you be shocked if you saw some footage from a town on YouTube from 2020 and like the events and that this movie occurred in that town?
I mean, I believe it. I mean,
you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, obviously this movie's heightened to a certain extent.
Yes,
but
it's not like far from believability.
Well, I think the reason why it makes people uncomfortable and like kind of rubs people the wrong way is because
Ari Aster made it.
Ari Aster made it, I think, is a factor, but I think the bigger thing is that it is holding up a mirror to a reality that we have lived through and don't want to think about in certain ways. And he's purposefully making us think about these things in ways that are just kind of difficult to interrogate.
Well,
like genuine kind of the idea of like what motivates people.
Yes.
And the idea of how we acted in this time period is just almost inexcusable, and how social media just rots our brains.
Well, and it's the rudimentary aspect of morality with people, and like when you can distill it to this point and really boil it down to what would you do in this scenario, and you know it's a reflection of your character and your beliefs and all that. Like that's what this film kind of does, right? But it's always played up to some point though, and it's also looking at like what's our ultimately motivating factor for doing this, right? And it's almost from one side it's money grabbing, from the other side it's it's just freedom.
Yeah,
you know, I mean because I don't want to harp on the people that you know weren't wearing masks, because the other side of this thing too gets poked at quite. I think that's why this film had some problems with its market. It's because it's holding up a mirror to both sides. And I don't want to sit here and just attack the people that weren't wearing masks or whatnot, or talk about, what was going on here. Because it's not just that. It's the other side, too, of, we're doing protests, or we think we're doing the right stuff, but ultimately it's for a penny.
Yeah.
Right? And you can kind of look at both of that and say, like, what are you doing?
Were you, just to kind of like swerve the conversation a bit, were you still at Sam's Club when
oh yeah, dude,
the COVID thing started?
I remember a guy came in there before COVID had hit. It was kind of like in Seattle or the Washington area, and the guy that came in there and he was grabbing all this stuff, and it was before everything was off the shelf, right? This was like 2 or 3 days before it was like, hey, it's in Mesquite, like we're shutting down, right? And he was doing I was I was in Spokane. They had a guy over in Seattle, and that's where it hit at, and so, hey, it's airborne now, and I'm telling you right now, it's gonna spread faster than goose shit through a tin can. I'm telling you, like, you get your stuff. And I was like, okay, sir, you need to know where anything's at. Like,
yeah,
if it hits, it hits. Like, great. Like, and you're kind of reading up on it, but I remember how wild it was. Remember, we had things in bulk.
Yeah. So for those who don't know necessarily, so Mac and I used to work at Sam's Club, which is a kind of big box version of Walmart. They're owned by the Walmart Corporation. So in the very kind of like heightened midst of the COVID-19 pandemic, Mac and I were what was considered essential workers.
Yeah.
And so while a lot of people were either working from home or their jobs were just like, shut down at the moment, we were working away with, masks on our face and watching the toilet paper just fly out the fucking window.
God. You'd have, so you guys understand too, you get pallets of stuff, and it's just pallets, and it's in bulk, and these pallets are probably 12 feet tall, and we ran out of toilet paper.
Every single
Shelving.
day. Yeah.
Shelving.
We couldn't get it in fast enough.
The frozen foods. I mean, just going
the
through
produce section. I worked in the produce department when it was like mass, like centralized panic buying. I think there were like maybe 6 different items left in the entire produce department out of like, the 80 or 90 different things that we carried.
Yeah, it was wild. And yeah,
they had to save basically not even like a full pallet, just like half of a pallet of toilet paper for us, the workers. And if like we had to take the toilet paper out of the back to get to our cars, because if people saw us coming out the front with them, we were afraid they were going to attack us.
Yeah.
That is how severe it was during the time.
Yeah.
It was insane.
Hysteria.
Because when did you leave Sam's Club? Not to make this like the Sam's Club.
It was right around that. It was right around that time. It was 2020.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's when I was out, and boy, man, if I could have picked 5 months earlier. But yeah, it was it was it was just starting to calm down, and I was like, all right,
you got to experience the brunt of it.
Well, that's one of the things that I'll never forget is just being kind of, not to say it was fun, but like I'm huge on perspective, right? And not to say it's an adventure, but like to be in that area, just a controlled environment, and you get to see what it looks like with mass chaos going on. Because, there are people that will talk about their shopping experience, and that's it. To be able to see what was happening as all of this was unfolding it would be something I'll never forget.
Yeah.
And that's, and it, it plays a little bit into the movie itself, but we never really get to see the heightened hysteria and unravel through Eddington. They seem to have some things under control.
Yeah. Or I like how towards the end of the film, it just kind of just feels like a ghost town, like just dilapidated.
Yeah.
Like it almost feels like an apocalypse came through and happened, except like everybody just kind of left and it's just deserted.
Yeah.
He's like running through these empty streets in the middle of the night, just like firing these guns.
Which gets us to the ending of this thing. And there is like a bunch of discourse on this. And I read up on some reviews and what Ari Aster said. So one of the things that I'd never really paid attention to was Antifa.
Yeah.
And I remember when I remember in 2020 when Antifa was a thing, and they're like, you better watch out, they're coming to your town and all this, and it's like, I have no idea what this is.
The idea of Antifa.
Right. And he mixes this thing into the third act, and there is a lot of like, what is it? Is it real? Was it in his head? Are we getting into some subconscious like
if you watch the movie and you see that scene where they fly in on the plane,
yes,
you'll see that the plane has the like logo on it of the tech company, the Magikarp company.
Yes.
And
solid gold Magikarp.
It cuts into the interior of the plane, and it's like kind of just going through the aisles, and you don't see anyone's face directly, but like you kind of see them like getting their guns loaded or whatever.
Yeah.
And they're dressed in like black and yellow.
Oh, and their signs are very much for, hey, like Black Lives Matter. Like they were they were coming in for the protests, right? But
it is
alternative motives.
Yeah. So the black and yellow thing is kind of like a Proud Boys thing.
Okay.
Like that's their color scheme.
Yeah.
Essentially, which fucking sucks because I like that as a color scheme, but the Proud Boys are fucking losers.
It was a good song too.
So the idea is this tech company hired some like military background Proud Boys to dress up as Antifa, air quotes, and stir chaos and like get rid of the problems in the town so that they could come in and like build their AI data center or whatever.
That's like if we're pulling this from like realism, from like events actually unfolding and happening, there's also another theory out there that this is somewhat like Beau is Afraid-esque, as Joaquin starts to delve more into the subconscious about like creating events that are happening as opposed to actually happening, right? And
they're all out to get me. Like, I'm the main character in this struggle, so obviously, like, they're all after me.
So one of the things I think Ari Aster said is that it was a little bit of a hint at the internet, right? And how he's been attacked, from all these different social medias, and now all of a sudden it's starting to manifest itself into his reality as he's going forward, and people coming out of it, just these random ass spots shooting at him, right? And he's trying to fend them off, and we start to get into this a little bit more of this subconscious, or this I don't want to say maybe alternative reality.
I think that's a good term for it,
right? Of where he's going, and that's where when the plane starts coming in, we start. I believe that's when he's gone through and already killed the mayor, so he's starting to have a little bit of this psychological delve into the mind of what he's perceiving as what real events are occurring. So the ending of this thing's very interesting, and any way that you approach it, right? And I wish I could do a little bit more justice with, because I think there was like 3 or 4 theories on this thing on what those, like yours, with the solid gold Magikarp and the money grabbing, people coming in, hiring this and really just ridding the town or and projecting this as Antifa or as a civil cause, but really it's making sure that none of the townspeople come out, so that
they're hired actors.
The data center can go through. But I guess what I'm driving at here is I love that this thing has an ending that can be so kind of subjective, right? And
there's some interpretation, especially of like, ideally like events after the film, of like, okay, well, what happens from here? Because I think the very kind of like purposeful framing of Michael as the sheriff, who is now like kind of in the place of Joe Cross, who's like recording videos of like the data center and like going out and like shooting very intently, like as if he's on a mission now. Seems like it is setting up that idea of like, there's more to this than what is being shown.
Yes.
At the same time, it is just like a definitive ending in that Ari Aster's just telling us like, look at how awful things turned out for Joe. And how like he's basically in this version of hell where like, so he gets stabbed in the head by the military guy. Yeah. And then doesn't die. He becomes paralyzed, basically gets locked in syndrome.
He's kind of like,
which is like maybe one of the worst fates imaginable. If that ever happened to me, I would want someone to shoot me in the head.
So he's just taking in stimulus but can't process anything. Or maybe he can.
He can process it. He just can't move or communicate.
Right.
Like,
So he's just taking it all in with nothing going on.
yeah.
So he's no longer got a voice and he can't opinionate himself.
Yeah. So like the mother, who is like this awful conspiracy theorist lady, like basically parades him around as the mayor, air quotes.
Oh yeah, she's once again using whatever she can for fortune and fame, right?
Yeah. Propping herself up in the process and showing him videos of his now ex-wife, who's pregnant with Austin Butler's. We didn't even talk about Austin Butler.
We can hop into that real quick.
Aspect.
I'm telling you, this movie is friggin' loaded.
It's chock full of different kind of cultural parts of what was going on at the time,
and feels very much Epstein Island stuff going on with what he's propagating, and
yeah.
Right? Like, hey, we got to take down these people. And
Epstein Island and like an alternative source of like power dynamics.
Yeah,
because people will look towards like politicians or celebrities or companies or whatever. He's kind of
like one of the mega churches. That's his aspiration, right?
Yeah, and they'll look to those things as like sources. And
he is preying on people's
power.
Trauma.
Yeah, and he's just another sort of different type of that same thing of like preying upon people.
Idiot.
Yeah,
I love, dude. So first, I and you think he's gonna have more of a prevalent role in this, right? From the trailer,
yeah,
because he's in a couple of those like snippets, and you're like, all right, how does he play all? And he's got a very limited runtime. He's phenomenal. Like,
yeah, he's great.
And
He's a good piece of added flavor that this movie has, like in its repertoire of like many different flavors already.
I don't know if it's with, and we're not trying to piss people off, but playing the religious angle with what his version of rationalization is.
Yeah,
but none of it made sense, right?
No, it's so crazy how you have these things that feel, I mean, obviously they're heightened, but like they are grounded in this sense of reality that we can recognize.
Yeah.
And he feels like he's a character that's pulled straight out of the Far Cry video games, where it's like this crazy kind of like cultish figure that is ultimately going to be like revealed to be the villain, but it just turns out, no, he's just a factor in this world that is already kind of broken and like in some kind of disrepair. Yeah, I thought he was great. I mean, the performances I really enjoyed, like pretty much all of them in this movie. I don't think there was a weak one. I mean, Pedro Pascal gets a lot of flack for being in a ton of movies. People say that he's like overexposed, like, I'm sick of seeing this guy. I think this is probably my favorite movie he's been in this year. I like his performance because I feel like he really embodies that type of guy, where it's like this sort of Gavin Newsom, like, left-leaning, like political figure who, like, I'm sure a lot of what he is endeavoring to do comes from a place of genuine feeling, but there's also this aspect to it of he's still a politician. Like, there's still parts about him that are just inherently going to be either a little bit seedy or untrustworthy. Like, I feel like he played it very well that way of like kind of too slick politician.
Oh yeah, no, he was fantastic in this thing. Totally believable.
Mm-hmm.
I think the best thing that he does in this film is his commercial.
Yeah.
And yeah, very, very believable for being a small town mayor, right? And kind of using the looks and the charm to get ahead and making sure that you're you're following the rules, staying it, following the your white lane, and yeah, he's really good in this thing. And I don't know if any of these people have genuine good motives. Like, I don't even know if he does.
Yeah.
Like they play him up like, yeah, with what's going on in the town and protecting the people, I think. But he's also in cahoots with the data center, you know, and he's talking about clawbacks and like how we got to gain this money, and hey, anywhere that I meet is a political meeting, and that's part of what's allowed. And if it's at my office, then it's the mayor's office that we're congregating. If it's here, it's here, and he's really doing it. There's only a couple people around. Right? Like, it's not like he's meeting up with the other council people.
He feels like one of those guys who embodies the sane rules for thee but not for me type of thing.
Yes.
Where it's like, you guys need to follow these regulations, but also I'm going to throw kind of a house party and blast Katy Perry.
Yeah, which is another great scene.
Maybe, I don't know, it's hard to pick a favorite out of this movie. I'd have to like single out one specific scene. There's like so many different moments that I just really love.
We're kind of getting up to it.
We're gearing towards the end.
The last thing that I really like that Ari does in this thing, in this movie, is you have the homeless guy, right?
Movie opens on him.
He plays such a great figure for why like people don't care. Right? Mm-hmm. You have the activists going on. We have to help the people. This is about the community. This guy is walking around and no one gives a shit about him. Not only that, COVID is essential. It's the most prevalent, well, outside of the data center theme in this thing. And he's obviously infected with it, and knowing is like, hey, like, we have to take care of that guy, right? So it's all used. You can see that no one really cares about the community and what's happening. As this guy is just banting about, coughing on people, causing mayhem, probably mentally ill.
Yeah,
so you should probably help him, at least in that regard, take care of him. And everyone is just like, ew, stay away from me.
Yeah,
right.
It's very kind of naked face. Like here is an issue. Here's a real issue that you can address in some way right now, and everybody just kind of wants to wash their hands of it.
They don't even see him.
Yeah.
You got the mayor sitting there who's all about taking care of people and making sure COVID doesn't spread. Here you got the virus, and then you got Joe Cross who's talking about the community and helping out and bringing back the community.
And he fucking shoots him.
You got a homeless guy, and he goes in there. He's like, "You're the issue." Bang, bang, bang. And it just played it was a very fun parallel, our juxtaposition, right? What we're actually seeing, but also pushing forward with this idea about how truly everyone in this film is selfish.
Yeah. Like we were talking about before, Michael, I think, could be a cool hang. He seems like one of the few characters that has
my god! And then you get the black guy pin it on the black guy.
Yeah.
Right? Like, this would be the easiest thing to do in the world.
Yeah. Insanity.
Oh my god! And so I look like, and so the kid, I know we're going on and on. The kid comes in there. He's like, "Yeah, I sent this thing to the guy because he wants to get the guy in trouble. There's a murder going on. It just so happens that it works out that he sent the image, right?" Mm-hmm. Joe Cross sees it and goes, "Hey, there's my guy." So he goes and takes the watch, plants it in the car. Because he goes, "Hey, I'll be back. Like, I have to run out and grab this."
Did you see Joe's list of suspects?
Yeah,
that he just has on a
Dawn.
notepad. Dawn at the very end. It's like he just wants to fucking get rid of this lady.
He is trying so hard to figure out who can he, one, pin this on, but two, get out of his life.
Yeah,
right.
It's so fucking funny.
Oh my god! Because Butterfly's going through and he's like looking at the tires and stuff. Like, obviously the cop of cops figuring out we could get let's take a look at that E, right? Like, that's a very unique way of writing that, and so he's already on top of it. Meanwhile, you got him, and I thought it was really funny too. I go, this dude lives in this town of 30 people. Maybe they care who killed the mayor. Maybe they don't, because there's everything else going on, and we don't really give a shit unless it pertains to us and our if we can speak out against it, right? Like, is this going to get me a buck? No. All right, the mayor died. So what? And I'm like, how does he pin this on someone? Like, he's got to find someone, right? Or what, are you just going to leave it as an open murder with 40 people in this town?
Right.
And so it shows that list of people that he kind of picked out. I was like, yeah, that's going to be really shitty, because you got to try to put forth an effort a little bit until it smooths over.
Right.
So,
spoiler alert, it never does.
No. And that scene in and of itself with the shootings and whatnot is really well done. You can see the muzzle shot in the background, and this thing's really well shot. The cinematography, the score, everything. I mean, this movie, it hit the nail on the head.
I agree. Shall we get into ratings? Unless there was other things we wanted to discuss. I feel like this is a movie we could have like another full hour talking about.
Oh my god!
But we do have the recommendation.
Pockets of things that just happen that you could talk about. Like, even the ending, you have to gloss over it. Yes, it's unjust.
You go first.
I do?
Yes.
Ah, shit. So I originally saw this thing kind of confused, and
I think most people did.
no, and rightfully so, because I don't want to say mismarketed. This is kind of a hard one to say. Hey, well, and it's coming from the mind of Ari Aster, right? So like, what do you
twisted mind of Ari Aster?
What do you do? And watching, I was like, all right, I'm gonna let it soak over, man. Right? I'm just gonna watch it and take it for what it's worth. And there's you almost have to take a leap of faith at some point with it. You will be treated correctly. So get done watching this thing, and I'm like, yeah, funny. Like I really love that he poked fun at both sides here. That we kind of held up a mirror to how society's operating, and even like where we're at now with shit. So it was 8 out of 10, and I rewatched it and realized I am an Ari Aster stan. Like I think this is one of my guys.
Yeah.
Right?
You put yourself in that category.
Beau Was Afraid, a lot of people didn't like. We loved it.
Yeah.
I went from an 8 out of 10 to this thing to being like, I fucking love this thing. I love it. The rewatchability is about the only thing that, and honestly, 2 weeks from now, Sam hasn't seen it yet, so Sam had a list. If he's like, hey, you want to watch Eddington? I think I could throw it on and watch it with him and be like, you know what? Like, let's fucking check this thing out. So
yeah,
it's unfortunately they can't do decimals, and I think 10 might already be too high on the rating scale, but this is a 9 out of 10. And like,
hell yeah, brother.
Probably 9.5 out of 10 if I'm being honest. Like I've seen and this is very close. You said Pedro Pascal performance. Very close. I think this is better than the other movie that I saw him in. Very close. I've seen 2 really fucking good movies that he's in.
What are the other ones?
Just the other one that you have to check out if you haven't seen yet. Freaky Tales.
I've not even heard of that movie.
Dude, it's on. Do you have HBO Max?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's how I watched this.
Yeah. You have to watch Freaky Tales in the next week.
I have to watch it. Okay, well, let me fucking throw it on my watch list.
So
then. Freaky Tales.
I'm very, very happy that we did They Live with this because it's a good companion piece.
Yes.
Freaky Tales, I almost recommended it last time.
2024 movie.
Yeah, and we don't have to get onto Freaky Tales all that much, but it was marketed, and then Lionsgate. So the production company fell out. They didn't have distribution. Lionsgate bought it. I think they had like a limited theatrical release, made $2,500. They said, screw it, we'll go VOD with it, right?
Okay.
Comes out to HBO. I had, and I know I'm going down this line, I said I wouldn't, but I had heard about this thing in 2023, right? Heard about the couple of actors being in it. It was like, hey, you got to check this movie out. It was late 23, maybe early 24, saying that this thing was going to get released, already done in production, yada, yada, yada. Fell off, heard bad things about it. Smash cut, heard good things about it. I was like, I'm going to check this thing out. I've seen it now 3, maybe 4 times in the last month.
Shit.
Dude. It is so anyone listening to him, we're not doing anything on it. I'm just going to tell you right now, if you like Pulp Fiction, Tarantino style.
Well, Tarantino has been making the news a lot recently.
Yeah, that's another thing too.
We can talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, maybe that'll be the ending segment. But it is so saturated in Tarantino. With the backdrop of Oakland, California in 1987. So it's very synthy.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. And it's
Dip my head in it.
It's almost like a love letter to California at the time. A lot of Oakland references just being around the area, but it's done in chapters, so it's kind of like Pulp Fiction-esque. But everything it ties in and just incredibly fun. It is something that you can kind of turn your mind off to while you watch. It's not like Pulp Fiction. You kind of have to know what's going on.
Yeah.
But this thing is incredibly entertaining. So anyways, Pascal isn't in that one quite enough to overtake him in Eddington. Love Eddington. Watch Eddington. Eddington's great. R.E.S. Man, 9 out of 10, 9.5 out of 10. Thank you very much.
Great way to round that out. Yeah. I really enjoy this movie. My second time watching it just kind of like cemented it for me even more, because I went into it with like a little bit of anxiety of, is this going to waver? Am I going to like kind of recognize what people don't like about this and sort of take that in a little bit more than the first viewing? But no, it's very steady foundation, this movie.
Oh yeah.
and I think it has a lot more focus than people give it credit for.
Oh yeah.
I think Ari Aster manages to tie so many different elements of this time period and different cultural concerns like very fluidly. I really enjoy the performances of this. The framing of this movie is beautiful. The only thing, and this is really like the only thing, and it's not even like a rewatchability thing. It's more just like my general anxiety that the movie just makes me feel when I watch it about like that time period and just like the interpersonal situations of the characters and how raw the portrayal of those things are. And, you know, I could absolutely see myself bumping up this score from what I'm going to give it right now. This is like a very, very high 8 out of 10 for me. Like, it's so close. It's one of those things where it's like, if I watch it one more time, I could see myself raising my rating.
Yeah.
But still a great fucking movie. Ari Aster, I think, is one of those directors who's just a guarantee for me.
Yes.
Like, when he comes out with a movie, I'm just going to go see it.
Have to.
He's just like an inherently interesting and talented filmmaker.
Dude, yes. I don't want to cut you off. Go.
You're good. And it was going to lead into... yeah, right. I'm just fucking glazing this guy. I actually fucking hate him.
Really?
No.
Oh, I was about to say. Whoa.
My sarcasm getting at me again.
Well, I could see a very much like, God damn it, I hate you, but do I fucking respect you?
No, I've listened to interviews of him, and he seems like a genuine guy. So you've seen all of his movies, his 4 features.
Oh, yeah.
How would you rank them?
This, okay. That's so hard because I've seen...
That's why I asked it.
I know. Well, and I've only... What I'm saying is I've only seen Hereditary once and Midsommar once. Mm-hmm. And you gotta... I think with his films, you have to go back.
Yeah.
He is... I'm telling you guys right now, this is one of the smartest screenwriters and filmmakers that we have in like our time. You know, like the way he's able to weave and take a shit ton of these themes and take traumatic experiences, or even this with being able to be just a mirror and hold that up to society without doing it so callously, right? In a very comedic sense, at least with this one, like. You have
this and Beau is Afraid.
Yeah, and so and I don't want to get long-winded, but like that's why Hereditary and Midsommar are not like they're not bumping up with those two because I've only seen them once, but like I don't know if I could throw those two back on and find like great enjoyment out of them just because like from the I don't know.
Which is funny because I feel like out of his filmography, people I think would point to those 2 movies as being the easier pills to swallow.
They resonate more with them because they're not as surreal or they don't dive as much into that subconscious and they don't like pull out some of those fears that people have. You know, like to take a COVID movie and to make it as soon as he did, and like you're saying, you can't rate it that high because there's the anxiety that gets built up watching it with the memories that you have of what happened, right? And that's why I think the last 2, and Beau's Afraid, I don't think anyone really got. Like, I don't think anyone was like, oh, that's anxiety fucking coked out. And he's looking at his childhood trauma with his mom. You know, like if you don't have that, like those go down. But Midsommar and Hereditary are horror films, so they're very much easier to resonate with.
Yeah.
Even from like we're not even going to look at family lineage and how generational trauma gets passed down, right? Mm-hmm. Like we're just looking at strictly from horror. There's a lot of horror elements in there.
I think there's also too, like with those movies being so supernatural, especially Hereditary.
Yeah.
There's this element of like, you know, keeping these things at a distance.
Yes.
No, going into it knowing that, okay, well, there's things in here that like will obviously like resonate to a lot of people. I can keep this at bay and just enjoy it for what it is.
Yes.
Beau is Afraid and this movie especially are like a lot more interrogating about like real feelings that we've lived through.
Oh, there is an introspection for sure. Maybe, you know, Beau is Afraid, I think a little less, unless you recognize
that one just feels so hyper specific
yes.
that like I can see Ari Aster's dealing with shit in his own personal like struggles. Whereas like Eddington is very much like, hey, I'm going to take all of our collective bad feelings that we had at this time and just like put it on the screen for 2.5 hours.
And let's watch how shitty people can be.
Yeah.
Right? I think if you don't get a laugh out of this one, like it won't sit well with you. And I think that's why I struggled because I don't know if people are sitting there laughing at both sides or you're like getting pissed off. But anyways, so for me, it's probably, I mean, honestly, And it's only because I've seen Eddington twice now, but Eddington, Beau's Afraid, probably Midsommar, and then Hereditary.
Okay.
Maybe Hereditary 3, Midsommar 4.
Yeah, those feel pretty on the same level.
Like both of these for me is like if you were on a step stool, you know, like you'd have the Eddington, Beau's Afraid up, and then you'd take a step down. It would be those two. But from like rewatching it, like throwing it on, man, like it could get elevated. You know, some of the elevated horror is one of the things that gets talked about with both those films.
Yeah, especially Hereditary.
Yes, and you know, maybe not. I didn't catch on either watch. I didn't catch it. You know, with both of them, so I might get more enjoyment or fascination out of it. But just knowing what I'm going to watch is skull trauma. I'm not a big skull trauma guy.
Yeah,
and it makes me squeamish. So,
hey, I get it, man.
Yeah.
My ranking would probably be Beau's Afraid number 1, Hereditary number 2, because I've seen Hereditary a decent amount of times, and I think it's so effective at the horror thing.
More than once, huh?
Probably like 3 or 4 times.
Okay,
I would say. Yeah, I think that the technical aspects of that movie just only elevate what it's going for.
Oh yeah.
Eddington number 3, and then Midsommar at number 4. Just because Midsommar I've only seen once, and I would really love to watch the director's cut because I've heard that makes it even better.
Yeah, Sam's seen that movie 4 or 5 times.
Yeah,
like I don't want to quote him on it, but I'm pretty sure he's almost like that's a near perfect movie. I think he's got it right there with Back to the Future.
Okay, I'd give it another whirl.
Yeah, maybe. There's also like you got to really like hate the boyfriend in that thing. And like find him as like a piece of shit.
The movie is like almost kind of framing it as like that's how you're supposed to feel, and then
we don't want to give too much away on it, but
we'll keep it minimal.
Yeah.
But then you watch the movie and you're like, is it really that bad?
Yeah, I mean, like he did some shitty things, but like, but there's, I think, you know, some of the Easter egg trip on it. That one's a little bit more fun than the other 3.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of foreshadowing in there as you watch it and tying in events that happen at a later time with dialogue. And I think that's where you can kind of get the enrichment of what's happening with the writing. Dude, I'm telling you, this dude is like a fucking unreal screenwriter.
He's a certified auteur filmmaker.
Man, like I keep saying
CAF.
Yeah, CAF. Yeah, I can't speak enough of them, and I really think, you know, people don't, if they don't like it and they don't get it, like I'm sorry, because I think if you do, yeah, I mean, that'd be a great like kill a weekend, see how long, like just sit through those 4 films.
It sounds like a blast to me.
See how,
shit, maybe that's what I'll do this weekend.
How you come out the other side.
Yeah,
you know?
You're the homeless guy at the beginning of the movie.
God.
That's what he did. He watched all 4 movies and he just went crazy.
Oh my god, yeah, he did. How about opening up on him and he's just walking and he's bleeding.
He's like making goat noises.
Yeah, and it's like, what are we doing? You know?
Yeah, insane. I love it. Speaking of insanity,
oh my god,
Roddy Piper experiences a little bit of that. Plus some elements of capitalistic slavery and oppression from outside forces. I'm, of course, talking about your recommendation of John Carpenter's They Live.
Yes, all right.
And it is now time for me to don the sunglasses.
There they are. They're not what were they called?
The poster says great movie.
Oh.
Also, so for those who, obviously you can't see.
For those that can't see, so everyone listening.
Everybody listening. I am wearing sunglasses, and Mac has cleared the test. He is not from the Andromeda Galaxy.
Oh,
he's not here to enslave me in capitalistic desires and motives. But I'm going to be wearing these for the remainder of the discussion. Just so you know.
Yeah, I just pull on my IMDb, and the first review is "They Live, We Slumber." Come on.
Do you want to hear my Letterboxd review of this movie?
What at then? Because it's gonna have a rating, right?
No, it's just like my written review.
Okay.
I wrote "They live, they laugh, they love."
Nice.
I can be a little stinker sometimes.
Yeah, cheeky.
A little cheeky beaky.
All right, so we got They Live, John Carpenter's They Live, 1988, coming in at a sleek 94 minutes. Starring, well, so this was written by Ray Nelson and I'm guessing John Carpenter. Ray Nelson's short story, 8 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, it's based on that short story.
Source material. I wonder if this got adapted screenplay. So
something tells me it didn't.
Nah. So the cast of They Live, not a lot of people you're probably going to recognize, but we got Roddy Piper as Nada, Keith David as Frank, his construction buddy, Meg Foster as Holly, George Flower as the Drifter, and I don't think there's anyone else notable in this thing. Someone's going to yell at me.
You want to know what's funny? George Flower's Wikipedia page, his profile photo is from They Live.
Hell yeah.
It's just a screenshot from the movie. Him in the tuxedo.
Which is so crazy. So, like, we'll get into it.
Yeah.
So anyways, They Live. The movie starts out with... We get on the Drifter. We get on Roddy Piper, and he is at the beginning of the scene, he's kind of doing his walk, right?
Yep.
Like he's walking around. And looking for work. Kind of, he's asking around, and he gets up to one of the couple places. He finally gets to a construction crew. Can't get a job, and so he sees a crew working, and he asks the guy, "Hey, can I work?" And the guy's like, "It's a union job." And he looks around and sees probably non-union guys working, and he does, "Are you sure about that?" And the guy's like, "All right, well, as long as you can lift a hammer, we can get you a spot. We'll pay you on Thursdays." And gets it. Keith David Frank recognizes kind of that he might be a drifter or a loner and might need some help, so he offers him, "Hey, we got a place that offers hot food, hot showers, and bunks to sleep at. So if you wanna go, follow me." And no words exchanged, but hops on the tail, and he's kind of following him around, and then they get into some dialogue about, "Hey, why are you following me?" And I don't remember what exactly they say. Right, there's so many one-liners.
He says something like, I think Keith David says something like, "I gotta know who's following me," and he says something like, "Well, I gotta know where I need to follow too," or something like that.
Bro, yeah.
I don't remember the exact line.
Yeah, there's like
I only watched this movie yesterday.
they fucking and it's all filled with one-liners, right?
Yeah. And to the brim. Not nearly as much as the Arnold Schwarzenegger Running Man, which I did watch recently.
Oh,
that movie is nothing but one-liners.
Yeah.
But yes, Roddy does. He does quip off some notable lines and quotes.
Yeah. So, anyways, he brings them to the camp, and they're watching some stuff. And there's some not recognizable, but we get introduced to some of the characters that will be brought up later on, and. They're watching the TV, and all of a sudden the cable 54 news outlets getting interjected with this guy that's kind of spouting off of, "They're watching us. They want you. They feed your subconscious. You're asleep right now," and it's kind of coming in and out, and people are wondering what the hell's going on. And Roddy Piper, being the smart man that he is observing all the stuff, and he sees the guy that runs the camp running off into this church, and you got a pastor that's kind of following him around, and it's very nefarious. It looks like nefarious activities, and there's some helicopters swirling around and whatnot, and then we get to the morning, and he decides to take action. So he checks out the church, and he's figuring out like what the heck's going on, or trying to ask. Right, still doesn't know, but he discovers a box filled with something. Doesn't know yet. Meanwhile, we get to the night. The cops come in. They break up the camp. They're arresting people. They're beating the shit out of people. Roddy Piper sneaks away by the skin of his teeth, and he's able to get back to the church and grab a box, and he escapes with this, and he's got to know what's in the box, man. What's in the box? What's in the box, man?
What's in the box?
And sneaks out to some alleyway, opens it up, and it's just some some pair of sunglasses.
Just a box of sunglasses.
Roy
just
Holman sunglasses or something along those lines.
Just in a pile.
Yeah, there's a shit ton of them, and he does the smart move that anyone would do is there's got to be $1 million in here, so he sticks his hand in there and ruffles them up, and what's he come up with? A single pair of sunglasses.
Yep.
Not sure what to do. He throws them on, and then we get into the exploits of They Live.
Spoiler alert for They Live. Not like super culturally ubiquitous, but people who know of this movie know what it is.
Yeah,
I would say
IYKYK, right?
Yeah, it's perfect. Read off of that. So can I talk about my first exposure to this movie?
Go ahead, run it.
So this film is a sociology professor's wet dream, and that was my introduction to this film. Was a community college sociology course. And the teacher, shout out to Professor Budimir, great professor. I
Nice.
hope he's doing well for himself.
Yeah.
Loved his bow ties that he would come in and wear every single day. Easily one of the more interesting classes that I had at that school. He showed us some scenes from this movie. And it wasn't the, when he goes into the bank and yells, "I've come here to kick ass and chew bubblegum and I'm all out of bubblegum," which, fantastic line. He showed us the scene, and probably like my favorite scene in the entire movie, when he first puts on the sunglasses and he sees the actual messages that are being displayed in reality.
Yeah, the
and
subtext.
not the trick of the eyes or like, the fantasy world that he's been living in with his, normal default vision, but just he puts the sunglasses on, he's looking at a billboard. With the sunglasses off, it's just this woman in a bikini that just says, like, "Come to the Caribbean." Puts the sunglasses on, it's just white background, black plain text, "Marry and reproduce." And he sees a bunch of different messages like that: obey, consume, conform,
sleep.
He sees magazines, they say all this stuff, and he sees like a fistful of cash. It says, "This is your God." Things that indicate to him, oh, there is a power that not many people know about, and the ones who do know about it are part of this like underground kind of revolutionary body. I mean, they do illuminate themselves with knowledge, and it quickly becomes this sort of, I don't want to say heavy-handed, but it is very kind of just naked face metaphor for capitalism.
Oh yeah.
And just power dynamics in that system.
Yeah.
And how it just works to keep the lower class at that level and repress people and beat them down so that they don't act on their own best interests, right? Their own kind of well-being.
Yes.
Their well-being, taking the power back away from these people who are oppressing
What are they
them.
working for, right? You're working to buy that magazine. You're working to get the cruise. You're working to, but who owns it?
Yeah. Spend money. This is your God. This is what controls your life.
Yeah.
And, I don't know. This is up there for me in terms of his filmography, I would say. John Carpenter's. This is a movie that it's got some like cheesy 80s elements in it, but I think that the overall messaging of it and the effectiveness of like how this movie's framed works really well.
Oh, it pairs so well with Eddington. Mm-hmm. You go from Eddington to watch this thing, and if you actually started with this and then ran into Eddington,
which is what I did.
Oh man, it had to go down like real smooth, right? Like you're kind of like seeing like a time lapse of 40 years, but almost like the same messaging with the data center and those politicians, and like what they're promoting in this, or their at least their stance in this is that all of what we're doing, we're controlled by a higher entity, and this entity being those of the free market, essentially running the free market, and the foils of capitalism.
Because who are the aliens in this movie? It is the upper class.
Yep.
It is the corporations. It is the politicians. It is the people who are in control of the characters in this movie who are toiling away at their lower class status. Also happens to just be the people in control of our own reality, the people who are part of these corporations, these billionaires who are not only in control of like a lot of different cultural aspects, you know, be it politicians, businessmen, whatever, also just part of how we express ourselves, advertising, control through advertising, and that's a very kind of purposeful thing. If you like learn anything about the intent of advertising, you'll learn that it is solely to just plant these ideas in your head of getting you to that next step of purchasing this thing, spending money on this thing, giving this corporation money so that it can just keep feeding and feeding and feeding. Because the whole purpose of corporations, at least in America, in our capitalist system, is to just continue this growth. We need to do sales that are better than last year, better than the previous year, better than the year before that, right? And if we don't meet those, we're fucked. We're going to die. We need your money to survive, to create these jobs, and that's kind of the excuse that they give, right? However, it's at the expense of the people. Instead of the idea of competition being a part of this capitalist system, that, oh, we were supposed to have healthy competition so that way we get the best product. Instead, we're experiencing this thing of like, yeah, everything's kind of being enshittified. Corporations are figuring out how they can get away with making things a little bit worse, not only just in terms of like the products they sell us, but also the conditions in which they make people work, right?
Yeah.
I kind of went on a little bit of a rant.
Well,
but like,
it's
ultimately to feed the idea that like, yeah, we're taking this simple concept and we're making you think about these things in your own reality in so many different ways.
Yeah.
And it is the effective magic of this movie.
Well, and like you said, you know, marketing plays a big piece in this. And marketing is, like you said, you're planting a seed of, the inception of an idea, right? It's based off psychological needs, and the more that, you know, people figure out, all right, how do we impact stimulus, right? How can we? You'll take a marketing class, and someone will say bright red reflects this. When someone sees something that's coded in red or done in red, they will infer these signals, right? And that's almost subconsciously done because your brain is automated to certain things. So, you know, stoplights are red. Usually everything that you do means stop, caution, whatever. So it's all about, you know, like you can get into a coloring pattern on how do we market this effectively to gain the most eyes, right? To make it the most pleasant. What are we really signifying as we're trying to sell this stuff? And that plays into it. You know, they talk about corporations. You're talking about competition. It almost looks more like at conglomerates, you know, and some of the stuff that we're, you know, it's some of the things that the government set up with the SEC and some of the commissions that are out there to make sure that you don't have these Microsoft pairing up with, you know, like
Sony.
Yeah. So like, hey, like let's put our products together and we'll take more of the market, right? Monopolization of the market. And a lot of this is just looking at, you know, what is going on and how people are, at least in the upper class, partnering up, figuring out how do we do this, and instead of, you know, having it be people, it turns out to be this alien race, and maybe that's how Carpenter looks at the upper class, you know, of being like just people that can't relate to the middle and lower class. And it's funny because like I really like how it's done through a cable news feed, right?
Yeah,
because that's ultimately, if you're glued to your television and your only source of information comes from that television, you can promote whatever line you want to promote.
Yeah. It's how you can control the masses, essentially.
Yeah. And that's
through
where
the screen.
Yeah. And you know, and the news that comes through there is kind of, we have to take it at face value, you know, and that's some of the fun stuff with Eddington too, right? Is, you know, you're taking it and then you, and this, it's essentially weaving the people where they need them to go, herding sheep, right? And, you know, Carpenter kind of looks at that, and it's I don't know how much money this movie made, and I'll probably have to look at that. Or
with a budget of $3 million, this movie made $13.4 million at the North American box office.
It's always
obviously gained more of a cult following afterwards, but
yeah.
Made a decent profit.
Well, and that's why I laugh at that, because I'm like, I don't know if that's irony. I don't know if he's making a movie, you know, where
I think the message of the movie can stand on its own while also being a little bit,
you know, like,
I don't want to say hypocritical, but yeah, hypocritical, where John Carpenter, for all intents and purposes, is a wealthy man who has made his fortune,
Yeah.
making money in the United States,
Yeah.
under our system, in which this movie is criticizing, obviously, but the irony is not completely lost on me in any way.
Right. And I don't, that's one of the fun. It's always like when you kind of watch movies like this, you're always thinking too, like you have to go back and go like, oh, I'm watching a movie, something I paid for that's going to this person.
Right.
And we're doing the exact thing that he's saying don't do.
I was telling you how I went out and I purchased the steelbook of this movie. Granted, it's at a,
and you got a shirt on, and
I have a shirt on. To
thank
be
God
fair,
they're not They Live glasses.
To be fair, both of these items, the shirt and the steelbook, are from a local small business.
Yeah.
So I felt a little less guilty.
Right. They get their markup on it.
Using my God, aka money, to obtain these items. But
well, so yeah, we can hop into the film. So that's kind of the premise of the film, right? And that's what it's set up on. And
I'd love to talk about this movie.
Yeah, because that's the whole idea with Roddy Piper going through in this and kicking ass and chewing bubble gum, and he's all out of gum, is essentially to take down these greedy fuckers.
Yeah, and I love the kind of small character arc that he has. And this is not a movie that is like totally concerned with like interiority or like it's not super character driven. Obviously it's a small cast and Roddy is the focus, but it's not like we're getting to learn like the machinations of like his morality. It's more so just this
backstory on him. There's nothing on like, hey, where's he gonna go? Is he gonna learn anything from this? This is driven by a theme. And the whole premise of this thing is from point A to point B, and we're going to stay along with the theme and learn more about how Carpenter views capitalism and
also just like how he frames this character as like a representation of like a lower class, like blue collar worker, and sort of like the importance of that. And I think the ultimate decision in casting Roddy Piper is this idea that he embodies this like kind of gritty, blue collar sort of like American bootstrap,
even though he's
quality.
Canadian.
Right. I think he's more so concerned. He's definitely Canadian. You could tell in his fucking accent.
I loved it.
I loved it too. And it kind of adds to that sort of like, I don't know, kind of sense of Midwestern like work ethic.
Well, yeah, I mean, and it adds to his characters. It's better when you can flavor up a character without having any sort of backstory on them or growth in what they're going through.
The text. John Carpenter realized that the texture of that character was more than enough to convey what he wanted in this movie.
Yes,
and I love the sort of beginning of how, like, his character's mindset of Keith David asks him like a question about when he thinks he's gonna make it and. Like what opportunities will come his way. Or like Keith David is sort of like lamenting that, these things will never pop up for me. I've given up on that dream.
He gives
long
his
ago.
reason why he hates America and why he hates this dream. And Roddy Piper goes, hey, actually, inversely related. I'm going to tell, and he gives his.
I think he literally says, I believe in the American dream.
Yeah, because
this country will do right by me.
Yeah, like I believe that you can pull yourself up by your bootstraps and that you can work for a living and that you can save a nickel to get a dime. You know, like he kind of gives like one of those spiels. And it's very because of his persona and who he is and how he looks, I mean, like, you're like, hell yeah, like, let's go, pouring concrete, you got this, right? Mm-hmm. And you get to see kind of the both sides of how people are viewing their lot in life, essentially, right? And kind of their approach to it, but it's almost like both of them are thwarted with what you learn, right? Where it's like...
Yeah, they're like coming to terms with a reality that they don't necessarily want to like combat, at least not right away, and then... he goes about it in a way that's like, I get why you're doing this, but maybe don't go into like a grocery store or a bank and start like shooting up the place.
Oh yeah, he snapped.
He snaps. And I think it's kind of the idea of like, this reality, and like when you realize that, it kind of just breaks your brain a little bit. Sort of the idea of like, I've experienced a level of consciousness that I didn't have before.
Do you know, like...
The idea of going woke, air quotes.
Yeah, well, I'm just thinking like, I always like to just put myself in the character situation, right? How would I perceive reality if I threw on those sunglasses and saw...
You mean the ones I'm wearing right now?
Saw all that around me and then an alien face. Like... I don't want to say snapped, and you're kind of like enlightenment, I guess, is what you're kind of striving towards.
Yeah.
Right? But maybe it's not too far off. Mm-hmm. Like, all of a sudden, at that point, you would probably go, the rules don't apply.
Yeah.
Right? Like, isn't that kind of like that aha moment
Like,
that you'd have.
Do the standard amount of consequences still apply, or is it just like,
Yeah, well,
is it my duty to like shoot these fucking aliens in the head?
not even that, but I'm just saying, like, all right, hey, stealing's wrong, right? And all of a sudden, like, you're like, all right, I live in this world. This is all like in a controlled environment. And then all of a sudden you realize an uncontrolled, or a stimulus gets brought in and you go, that's not part of this situation at all. It's like the Truman Show.
Yeah.
Like at what point do you get to that like level of, and it's consciousness of what's happening that you're like, oh shit, like it really doesn't matter. Now, I'm not condoning violence or people shooting things up or anything like that. Obviously, this is all fake, but I'm just thinking, like, in that universe, how would you go? Like, do you flip them on them off? What do you do? Are you just going to keep walking around just like, I kind of want to know? Or like, it's like,
right,
hey, I will fucking rob this bank, or I will do this because like, this is not.
What else do you do in that situation? I mean, you literally have no other choice. And that's the whole idea of like, what we learned in that sociology class is like when people are reduced to a point and backed into a corner. Yeah. It's either they're exploited to the max and they have complete dominion over these poor people, or they're forced to act and take the power back. That's the whole idea of like the proletariat taking it back from the bourgeoisie, right?
Or the guy that shot the pharmaceutical guy. That was kind of his whole manifesto.
Right. It's one of those things where like
Mario?
obviously
Luigi?
Yeah, I think so.
It's not Mario. It's one of the two.
Oh, Luigi Mangione. That's who you're talking about.
No, that's a saxophone artist.
You're thinking of Benny G.
Oh, maybe I am. No, Chuck Mangione.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay, we just
so when Chuck
did...
Mangione shot that guy in New York,
Sergeant York, Dick York, Sergeant Pepper,
Lonely Hearts Club.
Yeah. No.
That obviously it just kind of sounds like I'm saying sociology talking points, but it is.
This
I think
is kind of the premise of the film. I mean,
it is the premise of the film, and it's one of those things. Like I said before, it's like a sociology professor's wet dream.
Yeah.
Of like very kind of simplified representation of something that
class struggle
is. Yeah, it's worth talking about at the very least, and worth constructing as like a social issue.
Yeah, and that's it's done in a very unique way. As we find out that there are aliens among us. Yeah. It'd be very interesting if he didn't have that as a device, right? Or kind of,
yeah, I mean, I think
device.
It's the fact that it's just framed as like a, science fiction story beat, I think is just fun. And it's obviously within John Carpenter's wheelhouse. Like, if he's gonna like make this type of story, I think he did it in like an interesting way that you can easily tell it's him making it. It's not some fucking journeyman behind the camera like just making whatever blasé choices. There's like actual artistry in this movie.
It's very
that you can recognize.
Very well done for a movie that probably has 6 pages worth of dialogue.
Yeah, I think the fight scene, if I remember correctly, just on the script, it just said fight scene.
Did you read the script, or is that a joke?
I heard that on another podcast.
Yeah, it might be. That fight scene that's one of the best fight scenes I think I've seen in cinema.
It is. It's got a little bit more going on with it than I think people would initially give it credit for. Because you watch this movie, and Megan came downstairs, and she watched it with me, and it was the fight scene that was just starting. Yeah. And she's like, Jesus, how long is this fight scene? Like, she was kind of laughing at, like, sort of the silliness of how long it was going on for. Yeah. To me, that scene reads, these guys who are in this situation, who are both, like, blue-collar workers who are struggling to get by, are too busy beating each other up and, like, trying to get one up on the other, while the powers that be are still in control of everything. And like these two guys are just kind of left to toil with each other while the one tries to force
a metaphor off of this.
Yeah, one tries to force the other to like see how things actually are. And there's such a resistance to it that's just like I have Keith David in his mind. You can imagine thinking like, I know what's on the other side of these glasses is not going to be good if I look through them, so I don't even want anything to do with them. Like, stop trying to get me to wear these fucking things.
It's the horse blinders, right? Like, I'm going to keep my horse blinders on so I can see the track in front of me, because all of a sudden, if you open up the world around me, God knows what I'm going to take from it, right? So it's almost like out of self-preservation not to do it, just for your mind.
One of my favorite parts of that fight scene specifically, if we're touching on it, is when I think he like takes a 2x4 and he swings it at Keith David and he breaks the fucking back window of his car.
Yeah.
And Keith David gets pissed. He breaks the bottle in his hand. It like shatters completely. Roddy just has a moment where he just laughs.
Yeah.
Like he just...
My favorite part of all... So these guys are like... It's almost like you get the sense that they're fighting to the death. And he's got the 2x4. He's swinging it wildly at Keith David, right? And Keith David's getting out of the way. And he's got a bottle and he's ready to attack. And Roddy Piper goes to hit him and smashes the back of his car. And it is so childlike where he goes, oh shit, I'm sorry, man. And he throws the 2x4. It's like they're fighting to the death. And and enough of like both of them realize like we're not going to die here to be like, oh shit, that's a lot of insurance money. You know, and he goes, you motherfucker, you know. And then he laughs about it because he's like, oh man, like this is really silly.
Yeah.
Right. Like, and he has that moment of levity and of realism of like, oh, we are fighting, but it's still not to that point where like I'm gonna kill you to
right. Like like anytime Keith David like kind of gets the upper hand on him, which is like most of the fight, he like just kind of leaves him on the ground writhing around, and he's like, I'm walking away now.
Yeah.
For like the fourth or fifth fucking time in the scene. Because think about it from Keith David's character's perspective, right? From Frank's perspective.
Yeah.
This guy just went into a bank, shot up a few people, and he sees him at his place of work and is like, bro, you can't be here. You literally just like went in and killed people. And then still has like the goodwill to go bring him his last paycheck. Yeah. It's like, here you go. This is all I could muster up. Good luck with your life.
Yeah.
It is like, for all intents and purposes, he views him as like a mass murderer and is like, you know, I still have enough sympathy for you to where like I can get you like $50 and
I mean, like, yeah, there's that
help you get by. Good luck, pal.
Very wholesome though. Would you? I mean, like,
yeah.
There's no way. I don't know if someone was like that guy shot like 12 people, and I'm like, paper checks here. He might be able to use it. Don't know if I'm going off to give it to him.
Right.
And there's that little bit of the recognition between like where you're at in your lot in life, because maybe there's a sense of him too where he's like would have did the same thing.
Well, you get the idea that like there's a connection there that's just unspoken of like understanding. Like we come from similar situations.
They're
where
both drifters.
Yeah, like I get it, man.
Yeah.
When Frank is talking about how he hadn't seen his wife and daughter for like 6 months or whatever, it's like, oh yeah, this, you kind of just wonder at the story in which these guys had experienced to get to that point.
Does he have a family? Is it something that he's kind of just telling himself to keep going?
Right.
Is this like, man, if this is what I have to do the rest of my life, what, If
he's in that situation and it's been 6 months since he's seen his family, it's like, bro, I don't know if you have a family anymore.
Dude, they're in Detroit. The movie takes place, I think, in Santa Fe.
It looks like it's L.A. or something.
Well, so that's
somewhere in California.
That's what I think. But the rail car said Santa Fe on them as they were going through at the very beginning.
Comes to Los Angeles, California.
Okay, so think about it. Detroit to L.A.
Yeah.
You haven't seen him in 6 months. Why are you in... And I know he gives the whole steel mill shutting down, had to find work. Like, you're going to L.A. to get work.
Yeah.
I think it's more so of like something traumatic happened and he's there, and like the thought of like, all right, I'm going to keep doing this for them.
Well, you got to imagine it's like not too dissimilar from Nada's backstory and situation when he talks about how
his father
held a razor blade to his throat and he like was a drifter at the age of 13.
Yeah.
And how old is he in this fucking movie? Like mid-30s maybe at youngest. It's incredibly effective and sad backstory work on these characters that work to you frame them as like, these are the guys who are going up against these ultra rich alien douchebags.
And it's part of the common man. Like there's probably millions of those stories, so a lot of relatability with hearing that, and like everyone having their own like, I know how I got into this line, and it's a little bit of that trauma centered piece. The fight scene kind of not holds it together, but that's one of the biggest.
Is that your favorite part of the movie?
Probably.
Yeah.
I really like it because it's very, I don't want to say authentic, but they took what Roddy Piper was really good at. They said, hey, like we're going to incorporate the wrestling style into this, right? Because you can sell a good fight. Mm-hmm. but also the fact that it's very like realistic in terms of their stamina, endurance, fatigue, and like you have these moments. It's so like a lot of like, you know, like John Wick, right? It's like he's just going pumping through all of these things. Like it's, you know, 12 minutes, he's gone a mile and he's killed fucking 50 dudes, right? Like not even out of breath. These guys, it's almost like you get the sense of every time that they reset, they're catching themselves. They're kind of charging back up to the best that they can.
Yeah, they get the shit kicked out of them.
And the prosthetics too, like when they're done with it, look great. You know, like it really feels like authentic, like what happened.
Also, they're doing these stunts in a way in which, like, yeah, I could believe that they'd actually be this exhausted by the end of filming this scene.
Are you kidding me? Like they're picking each other up, throwing each other down. Like at the very, it's close to the tail end of it. Keith David gets up and I'm like watching. I was like, he's stumbling around, and it's because your legs are like ready to give out.
Keith David, who for all intents and purposes is not a professional wrestler,
right?
Who is like trying, he's like not even trying, he's doing the same shit that Roddy Piper is doing.
He's suplexing,
keeping up very well in these scenes.
Yeah. I love my so I love the car one, and we can get off the fight, but I love it when Roddy Piper goes to like hit him in the nuts. And he catches it, goes, you dirty motherfucker.
The way he delivers that line is fantastic.
All of this stuff, it feels like two kids fighting, but you're watching these macho guys going at it, but it feels very much like kids wrestling in the mud, right? Yeah. Like just kind of like we're really pissed off, we're angry, we're getting all of this out, and it's really for such like as you brought up. It's a very it's probably a tender subject for like the acceptance of what you're gonna see and have an idea that something will be there and wanted to stay blinded towards it. But also just in the simple light, if you hey, we're gonna watch these guys wrestle for, you know, get pissed at each other for 8 minutes because that dude wants him to put on some sunglasses and he doesn't.
Yeah,
like if you showed that to a kid, they'd be like, oh man, I get that. You know, like my friend wanted me to listen to this music, I told him no, and I didn't want to. You know, like. So it's very childlike too. I mean, not at the core, you know, with what's going on, very simplistically done, but a lot of representation about like what the fight's about.
Yeah, I think it's great. It's up there for me as for like top scenes. I still think my favorite's like when he's first putting on the glasses, like going through the city, and there's like I love the choice of there's like no music.
Yeah,
it's just the ambience of the city and like, you know, the cars going by and the horns honking and the footsteps that you can just hear walking the sidewalk.
Yeah,
it's
going
so,
over the grades.
It's very effectively immersive that way, and just like I love how it's so very clear, like when it cuts to the billboards and the things that he's looking at. I think, you know, in one instance it's like he can see things move, but like for the most part they're just like still images.
Oh yeah.
And I love how it creates this sense of like weird calm that is taking place in the reality of it while he's experiencing these like mind-blowing revelations.
If you think about it, putting those glasses on, it's almost like he tunes out. It's coming in tune with the world, right?
Yeah.
Like it's getting to you know the holistic approach and nature, and you throw them on and all of a sudden you're kind of eliminating the stimulus of everything else, right? Like you're just hearing the world around you as opposed to like, hey, you got to buy this product, or, you know, like, hey, we got hot dogs here, you know, like it's just him kind of coming into his own perspective of the world around him, and then he sees it, and that's that enlightenment, right? That's kind of, you know, coming out of the cave. Very, and it's effectively done too. And I think Carpenter knew what he had with Roddy Piper and the actor that was he. And
rest in peace. He's no longer with us. He passed away
not too long ago.
2015.
2015?
Yeah, I thought it was more recent than that.
Holy shit! Why did I?
Yeah, it was 10 years ago. July 31st, 2015. He was 61.
Oh,
wasn't like that old. I mean, he wasn't young, but like,
man, life moves fast.
It does.
Don't blink.
Have you seen him in Always Sunny as Domaniac? Probably one of my favorite performances from him ever.
No.
It's the episode in Always Sunny when they put on like a wrestling match.
Oh,
and
God.
They get him as like a former wrestler. He's playing a character called Domaniac.
Nice.
And he's just fucking unhinged.
Oh yeah.
He's awesome in the show.
Oh,
specifically that episode. I think he comes back for like one or two more, but check that out. I think it's called I don't know. If you look up Always
Shameless
Sunny,
plug.
Yeah, if you look up Always Sunny wrestling episode, you can find it. I think it's like season 4 or something. But anyway, yeah, great casting for Roddy Piper. Because I think originally John Carpenter thought to go to his go-to guy, Kurt Russell, which...
Nope.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that wouldn't have worked.
Right. It's one of those things where, like, it's a good choice to get him because he feels so lived in for the character, right? Like, embodies that kind of, like...
Well, you know, and I don't know his...
bootstraps representation.
I think, you know, Sam has a little bit more on it, but if I remember right, he did have, like, a traumatic past with his dad.
Yeah.
And I think he kind of embodied what he went through in the WWF at the time, now WWE, but, like... kind of like a parallel of his real life story with what happens in the film, and that bootstrap mentality, the hey, I'm gonna join the WWF and become a wrestler and start at, you know, doing all these matches, traveling, road warrior, you know, going show to show in these far off towns for 30 people, eventually getting to a point where you have a persona and people recognize you being the main event, right? But I if I remember right, like there are some parallels with that. And so like when he does the dad story, I think that monologue really hits home because of how much he owns it.
When he's talking about it, it feels like he's just telling the truth of his experience.
That's what and I think that kind of helps out also with like, and hopefully, like I was like, man, I hope that's not too on the nose for him, like recanting this.
Yeah.
But if I remember right, and I could be way off, maybe he had a loving family and his dad was awesome, and you know he just happened to walk in because he was a football. I don't know, but like if I remember, well, maybe I'll look it up. Yeah, but I think that's why it really worked out. And like John Carpenter being like, "Hey man, like we're only giving you a certain diet. Like we have you here because you're 6'3", built like a ship brick house.
Yeah,
you got the lines you got. Give me some of that WWE getting on the mic. You know." Spice that up for me.
Yeah.
And he does a great job. And the one monologue he has, I thought he knocked it out of the park.
Yeah, and you know, he's peppering this movie with like some one-liners, obviously the bubble gun thing, but when he like goes into the grocery store and he's saying like, "Oh, you look like Swiss cheese, melted Swiss cheese or whatever."
You look all right. You formaldehyde face.
Yeah. I guess he had like a notebook written where he just like had it full of one-liners, and John Carpenter would use some of them, like just these wrestling pieces of dialogue that he would pull from.
Yeah,
a lot of fun.
I could see that. Also, by the way, yeah, after being expelled from junior high school for having a switchblade, yikes, and falling out with his father, Roddy Piper left home and stayed in youth hostels.
Yeah, I mean, it adds to the authenticity of the character, and it just makes it a lot of fun. I love his scenes with Meg Foster.
Yeah,
especially when he gets fucking yeeted out the window.
Oh my god, that is
probably my favorite. Probably my favorite stunt in the movie is just that scene.
Yeah.
Just like smack in the back of the head, push out the window.
Yeah.
Just totally fucking crazy.
And he lays, what the fuck?
It's like, you're lucky you're not dead. Yeah. You fell like 3 or 4 stories.
Yeah.
It's crazy how high he was.
That's also, it's so interesting too, because they have such that's the only thing I think that I bumped up with this movie on. Mm-hmm. Is the forced like connection there that really just never feels
it's like not even a concern. It feels like it's thrown in there, but that's kind of just it about it.
It's
right?
like the distribution kind of like producers once it came out like, hey, we have to have a chick in here that he's gonna fall in love with or tries to. Like you got to get some females in this audience.
Do you think so? Question.
Yeah,
we're gonna speculate a little bit on some of the plot stuff.
Okay.
Do you think she was with them from the beginning? Or do you think she joined up with them later on?
Like from the beginning.
Yeah? You think so?
Yeah, because he asked her what she does, and she says, I'm an assistant director of production for Cable 54.
Yeah.
Like, that's her answer when they get to the house or in the car or something like that.
Yeah, the sense of she's always kind of like in charge of this for them. Yeah.
Yeah, and so having seen this movie a couple times, I'm trying to pay attention to the dialogue and be like, all right, first time watching this, let me see if I pick this up. So there is she calls someone and she kind of gives the information, but then the next thing it's cops coming.
Yeah.
But you also, there's a connection there with the cops being part of this crew, right? So like as soon as that happens, I was like, all right, like I feel like that's the tell that she's not good. So when she shows up again at the rally, there is some subversion there, and like when things go awry, you can only assume that she was a part of it, but like I feel like they tipped their hand on what she was very early on. Mm-hmm. I wish that I don't know if I needed her to make the call. I would say this would have made much better in terms of like the plot and like her role is if she picks up the glasses, you know, because she looks down because he dropped them in the carpet, right? She picks them up and then she makes a phone call. If they don't show her making that phone call. So she picks up the glasses. Next thing you know, they get out the window, they show the cops coming up and he's down on the ground and, you know, he's got to make a run for it. So there's only an assumption that maybe there was a domestic disturbance, someone else called the cops, and we don't know if she does it. So then when she shows up, she's got the glasses. We know she's picked up the glasses. Maybe she's put them on. Maybe she's recognized, right? Mm-hmm. And then you have a little bit more of that mysterious nature. So when the raid comes in to get these guys out and the A team's there, you're not quite sure because you don't know who set them up in the very beginning of the movie, right?
Yeah, I agree. I think that would have made it a little more ambiguous in terms of like leading our expectations.
Yeah.
It's also funny that she's on the alien side and is also not an alien herself because her eyes are so fucking piercing blue.
Oh my god. Yeah.
Like it's
distractingly.
You look like an otherworldly creature in this movie and yet you're not one of the aliens?
Yeah.
Like that's kind of even more insane than if you were one of them. But yeah, no, very kind of minimal cast. Yeah. Minimal sort of like ensemble here. Like we're working with just like 3 main players, 2 of them who are like, you know, part of it for most of it. And
dude,
then
$3 million.
She shows up every now and again.
$2 million went to the fucking CGI in this thing to get the Obey up there.
Yeah.
Like the cast here is not Keith David in 1988 had done The Thing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He's probably the biggest name in this movie currently, right? Like, because you think of Keith David, you think, oh yeah, I love Keith David. I love it when he like pops up and shit, like Requiem for a Dream.
I would actually say Roddy Piper. I think there are more people if you walk the streets and said Roddy Piper or Keith David, and they'd say for what?
Yeah,
you know, and you're like, all right, well, who do you recognize? They go Roddy Piper. Now that's also like I said, I don't even know people now. Keith David's been around for a while. I still like. I think if you ask 10 people, one might be able to name a movie he was in. Like,
sure.
He's recognizable to people that watch film. But then you get into Roddy Piper. It could be the same thing where if you say that name, I don't know if they're going wrestling or not.
Right.
But like in terms of what we're driving at here,
I think
very small cast. And very like obviously the names pop out now, especially for moviegoers or wrestling fans. But like at the time, I think it's probably Roddy Piper is the one that you have to market.
I think it's to this movie's benefit that most of these people in this are pretty anomalous. Like names that are like not immediately recognizable who you can just kind of get lost within the characters of them. Like if I watch a movie with Brad Pitt, it's very rare that it ever like leaves my mind that I'm watching Brad Pitt. Like
no, I mean you like Cliff Booth, right?
Yeah.
Like you're like, all right, I get the character. I'm on with Cliff Booth. I like Brad Pitt playing Cliff Booth, but you're still saying that like in this one, you're probably like you're mentioning like you like Frank.
Yeah.
You're like I like the character Frank. You're not going I like Keith David playing Frank.
I mean, I like both of them, but yes, you are correct in that like he is more so just the character instead of a recognizable face that is just constantly on my mind throughout it.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe a little more so just because like I recognize Keith David a little bit more, but still like perfectly blended.
Yeah.
I like that John Carpenter makes his own music for his movies. Like he composes his own tracks. It is a little samey after a while.
Oh yeah, dude, there is not enough dialogue in this thing. And that tune just keeps going.
It is, yeah. It kind of gets a little repetitive after
stale.
A bit. And even some of like the technical parts of this movie, like I think John Carpenter does a great job of utilizing the limits of his budget to effectively, you know, convey the message and like the themes and what he's trying to do. Admittedly, there are just some things that because of the limitations are just a little hokey. like the flying kind of like camera drone that he shoots out of the sky. It's like, yeah, this is an effect that doesn't entirely hold up. I feel like you could have like maybe gotten away with doing a practical effect, especially because, you know, you're used to doing things like The Thing, where that movie is just like a practical effects artist dream.
Yeah.
And it's like maybe could have made some different choices here to make that even more believable or like grounded within the reality of the film. And when there is like just this kind of like big CGI thing, it takes me out of it. You know?
Yes. No, I agree. I mean, and I just wanted, I'm sorry, I'm
No, you're
looking
good.
up. I wanted to see where he kind of went, because he goes Escape from New York, The Thing, Christine, because I was like, is he following up, you know, The Thing with They Live? Like, how do you get from, you know, that to that?
I think it's, what is it, like 6 years between those movies?
Yes. And you've got Christine, Starman, Big Trouble, Little China, and The Prince of Darkness kind of sandwiched in between all that.
Yeah.
So I was just curious, some kind of thing like, all right, like you've got like The Thing, you know, how do you get something that's with practical effects that well done to They Live, where it's kind of a little bit more, I mean, kind of practical effect. I'm guessing they probably had a flying saucer that he was dangling with a fucking string. And,
Yeah. I mean, I appreciate the fact that the aliens are practical.
Yeah.
Like these real masks and costumes. They even like paint their arms and stuff.
Their
to
bodies.
Make them. Yeah. You get the alien that's like, you know, getting ridden at the end.
Yeah.
He's
We're
like,
going to get some tits in this thing.
what's the matter, baby?
Yeah. Yeah. And then what a great way to just kind of fucking, you know?
Oh, yeah. It just cuts to the fucking credits.
Yeah.
Like, boom.
Like, we're going to end this thing with a joke. They all been exposed. This is, you know, this is how you should feel when you fucking see a guy making that much money.
Yeah. One of the biggest benefits this movie has, it's short.
94 minutes.
94 minutes.
I will say it feels long at times.
At times, yeah.
Like when, because the music gets a little stale.
Yeah.
When you're hovering around and there's it's living in this sort of ambiance or ethereal feeling. Thank you. Where the music's just kind of keeping you trudging along as we're exploring the world around us. Because it's low budget, that kind of it becomes a little tricky, you know. And that's there are points in this thing where, because of the limited dialogue and kind of just going through the pain of the characters, you're trudging along with them. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Outside of that, I mean, 94. It's clean, crisp, and it's an easy story to follow.
Yeah. I mean, you really can't go wrong with just throwing this on, and you know, it's one of those movies in which like I will just look up scenes of it, like the fight scene or like the glasses scene.
Yeah.
You know, even like moments later on when they're like running through the halls of the station. Yeah. And just like gunning down the soldiers or whatever.
Dude, and just seeing the nozzle, you know?
Yeah. It's that stuff's fun. That stuff's very fun. I mean, I love this movie for just kind of like the surface level fun that it offers, but it is one of those things where like if you do want to get more out of it, you absolutely can.
Oh yeah, I mean if you were having any sort of like, man, fuck capitalism, throw this thing on.
Yeah,
you know, like this will easily like satiate you on that. Like, god damn it, I'd love, you know, like yeah. But yeah, like, or maybe like if you're having like any sort of like philosophical conundrum with, you know, throw this thing on and absolutely get a little bit of a taste for how other people may have felt, you know. And I don't know if Carpenter is in there or not in there, but he definitely puts it on screen and says that's what he's thinking.
Do you sympathize with the Drifter, with George Buck Flower? Getting that cash after being poor.
Man, it's all about getting that cash.
I'm a rich man now.
Yeah.
I do love the trope of like he thinks that they're a part of it, so he just casually brings them through like the most vulnerable parts of their operation.
Well, he's like, yeah, I did the same thing, boys. Yeah. Like, hey, we're all cut from the same cloth.
Everybody sells out eventually.
Yeah.
Might as well make some money doing it.
Yeah. So funny thing, I've seen this movie 4 or 5 times. Did not know that was a guy sitting in the homeless encampment,
watching the TV.
Yeah, so I like watching this now from like, hey, all right, let's watch it from a talking point. Like he comes back on, and now I did the fucking Leo. I was like, oh my god, was like, how have I never picked up on that?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's such a great way because the nice thing about it too is that they bring I don't know if it's the guy that they is on the TV talking about how they get people to join.
Yeah.
But they say, listen, the only people that come up are the ones that sell out, the ones that are willing to work for them. That, like, if you see people and they're making money, they're the ones that eventually sold their soul to get there. And he does it very early on the film with some foreshadowing that it'll get back to him. So like when he pops up, it's like, oh, that makes complete sense. He saw a shortcut and said, hey, screw it, I'm going to take it.
Yeah.
Right. With no care of whatsoever of how it impacts other people or what it does. I mean, fuck, he's homeless. So like,
gotta get that bag, man.
Hey, it made sense for him to do it. I don't know if he was ever part of the revolt though. Like, I don't think he ever showed up on one of those things.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Do I sympathize with him for doing it?
Yeah. Would you do it?
In his shoes?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Without question.
No. What are you talking about? Like, what about it's that or what? Going along with Roddy Piper and fucking trying to kill aliens and live my life, running around.
Yeah.
Now, when it comes to, so that's why I'm bringing this up though. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you knew about the revolt or not. Right? You take it in. If there's a class action going on and it's like, hey, the uprising's here. Yeah, depending on like what prejudices I see, yeah, for sure it could say like, oh yeah, I go with Keith David and Roddy Piper, like fucking let's go. But for that guy like I'm homeless, no idea what's going around on me.
Yeah.
Someone's like, hey, we're gonna give you a couple $1 million.
Hard to beat the temptation of like, hey, I used to be like this scuzzy scab on the sidewalk. Now I have a tuxedo and like pockets full of $100 bills.
Yeah, what are you talking about? Like, come on, like it just depends on like what you knew before that moment. But like, here, you want to be homeless and smell like shit still, or take the money? Like, I'm not going like, oh yeah.
I think
like,
it exemplifies that like, yeah, at the end of the day, it's all about like kind of survival and like your own best interest and.
Well, like you said,
the kind of environment that this system fosters for those people and like the choices they have to make.
It's not even, and that's where you talk. I mean, we talk about it too with competition. Like you just eliminate the competition. It's join or stay where you're at. Mm-hmm. Like there's no like going up against it.
Yeah.
So I mean, like you talk about Darwinism. I mean, that's part of it in terms of your social or your lot in life and your health, and you're keeping your fucking genes going. You got to be able to survive. Mm-hmm. So, no, I saw that guy and I was like, I didn't go like good for him or fuck him. I just laughed. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like,
it's more of like that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, what are you going to do? Like, it's,
Can't get, I guess, too mad.
No, so if it was Holly though, and she knew about it and got to that that party, and she called in the raid and then she joined them, I would be like, no, that is unacceptable.
I mean, who's to say that she didn't call in the raid? Like
this guy, I'm saying it. She called. She was on the phone saying, "You got to come here," and then the cops are there, and the cops are part of it.
Yeah,
so.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I think there's a good chance.
Oh, not for certain though.
Not for certain. Little room for doubt, which is where I think this movie shines the best. Was there anything else we wanted to discuss with They Live?
No, I think you took that last little piece about the homeless guy being in the third act drama. Nope.
Let's get into ratings then.
Okay.
So this is a solid 8 out of 10.
Nice.
Like I said, this is kind of up there with my experience with Mr. John Carpenter, whom we've talked a lot about on this podcast. 3 or 4 of his films. The Thing, Big Trouble in Little China, Halloween, and now They Live. I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, unless there's one other that I'm not thinking of, but I think that's it.
I think you're right.
He's a filmmaker that I'm always going to be interested in discussing, watching his movies, and this is definitely, I think, a staple in his filmography, one that I think stands out for the better. I really enjoy the performances from Roddy and Keith David, almost called him Kevin, Meg Foster. I think everybody does their jobs effectively. The technical aspects of this movie are mostly impressive with some kind of limitations in terms of like the time period, but also just like different choices that I think could have been made. Soundtrack, while it's fun at first, gets a little bit repetitive. And I think the pacing of this movie, while it benefits from the shorter runtime, does feel a little bit long in the tooth in some instances from scene to scene. But regardless, I think this goes down smooth for the most part. You could throw this on. I think anybody could watch this movie and get some enjoyment out of it. Solid 8 out of 10.
Nice. Yeah, I don't know if Bill Gates throws it on and gets enjoyment. I don't know. Maybe he laughs. Maybe he's like, look at those fuckers.
He probably sweats because he himself is an alien.
So I didn't get into how I originally saw this.
Yeah, go for it.
It'll play into the score. So I saw me and my brother. I think we're once again probably around 10 or younger. This is on AMC. Now this is a film. I mean, if the violence itself is pretty gratuitous, but given kind of the sense that they're killing aliens, and if you go off Predator Badlands and whatnot, I guess it's fine. But like, so saw this, but we didn't tune in, kind of like Megan, until the fight scene, right? So there's a long time where I'd only seen the fight scene, really only the talking scene. So all the stuff kind of in between had not really seen. But I was like, man, Roddy Piper, because we were big into wrestling, and like, oh, they're fucking like, look at that, that's awesome. They're fighting and they're killing aliens. Look at all the secret messaging. So loved it from a young age. And then every 5-10, I'd probably say 5 to 6 years, I always catch up with it, and it continuously gets better and better. So my score is simply from a nostalgic standpoint on this thing, kick-ass standpoint. I think also the kind of the light that you said, that if you took really anyone that's probably 13 or older, right, and you're like, hey, we're going to watch a kick-ass film, you might not even get the context around it or take away some of the themes that are going on. Let's just watch it for what it is, right? Roddy Piper beating the shit out of people and killing aliens.
Yeah.
Kick-ass. So seeing this thing, it is a little bit slower than it slows down more and more every time I watch it. The music gets a little stale. God damn, it's got one of the greatest fight scenes I've ever seen. Some of the best lines I've ever heard, and some of the best kills I've ever witnessed. So without further ado, this is a 10 out of 10.
Nice. Wow. Excellent score for They Live. 10 out of 10. Good stuff. Good stuff. You like to see it. Cool. Well, that was our discussion on They Live. I think we should probably start wrapping up soon, but one more bit of business. Okay. Now, we usually do a recommendation, but you said something about possibly having a guest for the next episode.
Yes.
Do you want to elaborate on that a little bit more?
Yeah. So, as you guys know, Sam, my brother, who we got 3 appearances with him on here.
4. Because he was on for War of the Worlds, Star Wars documentary.
Yep.
He was on for the Godfather trilogy.
Yes.
And the Dark Knight trilogy.
And Batman.
Yep.
Or not Batman, Spider-Man.
And Spider-Man. So 4.
You said 4, and then you named 3 and said that was it. You're good.
I think my brain is on flatline right now.
Yeah. Well, you made it through. You made it through all that.
I did. I'm kind of proud of myself, honestly.
Yeah. So I think we'll have a special guest. We're kind of looking at possible trilogies, or maybe 2 good movies that we could really link up, just kind of given the time.
Yep. Nothing specific or set in stone quite yet.
Yeah. We want to get something juicy and fruitful, and obviously we want to hopefully not rip to shreds. It would be fun to have a Godfather type moment. Every one of those films has been enlightening.
Yeah.
Right? Like all of them. Like, you get nostalgia. You got one of the greatest series of all time, trilogies of all time. You got one of the most polarizing trilogies of all time with the Batman stuff, right? And then War of the Worlds and Star Wars was like totally enlightening with us being able to talk about it.
I always have fun with the Sam episodes.
Yeah.
Like, without a doubt.
Yeah. I kind of like... We'll see, guys. We'll see too, because I want to have one like War of the Worlds and Star Wars, where we kind of peanut butter and jelly,
a little bit more, kind of like low stakes, like
not get into the trilogies and like
shoot the shit type of movie discussions.
Yes, yeah,
that we can like dive a little bit deep into.
Sometimes the through lines are good with the trilogies and keeping on task with that, but yes, like that's where I'm kind of leaning towards. But we'll all talk and we'll figure it out and we'll post and let you guys know.
That's exciting. So, as soon as we learn more, I will let you guys know on social media. thank you guys so much for listening to this episode. Episode 109 comes out 2 weeks from now. I think it'll release the same week as Christmas, like around that week, either like the 22nd or something like that. Let me see. Let me pull up the good old calendar. So the 21st is when that will come out. Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, get your holiday cheer in, and keep a lookout for what will be happening on that next episode. Again, thank you guys for listening. McLean, how do we put the sunglasses on and see the truth in this episode's ending?
WWTHD.
Bye, everyone. The Neon Crew podcast is hosted by Kyle Yates and McLean Parker. Kyle, who is myself, also helps to produce, edit, and upload every episode. Our music was composed by Gideon Hunter. Our artwork was created by Lauren Hunter. Thank you so much for listening to our show. Episodes get scheduled to release every 2 weeks. You can find us on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Follow us on various social media platforms such as Facebook, Instagram, and our YouTube community page for updates and information on upcoming episodes. Want to join the Neon Mafia? Head over to our shop page at etsy.com/shop/the Neon Crew Podcast for some quality, comfortable merch.